I collect attributes in the apocalypse. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101, The Factory's Lost. Asshole, Su Qinkang looked at the scene in front of him and cursed out loud in anger. He never thought that something like this would happen. The key is that it happened at this time. If these zombies rushed in, it would be hard to imagine how serious the consequences would be when everyone was drunk. Roar. While Su Qinkang was raging, the zombies had already walked in from the gate and rushed towards him and Zhang Danian. I'll deal with it first. You go and call for help, Su Qinkang said in a low voice. Yes, boss. Zhang Danian did not dare to hesitate at all and turned back to the playground. Although Su Qinkang was a second-level evolver, he did not have defensive attributes. If the zombies attacked him, he could not resist with his own physical strength. Without weapons in his hands, he could only rely on his feet to kick the zombies. After kicking off the heads of the zombies in front of him, he immediately retreated a distance, quickly rushed to the side, came to a small tree, and kicked the trunk of the small tree fiercely. Crack! The trunk was kicked in half. Su Qinkang reached out and grabbed it, and then bent it hard, leaving a section of the tree trunk about 40 to 50 centimeters in his hand. Bang! Bang! He held the tree trunk and hit the zombies' heads hard, and the zombies' heads burst open one after another. On the playground, Zhang Danian ran back quickly, grabbed 2 beer bottles on the table, and threw them hard on the ground. The sound of the broken beer bottles immediately attracted everyone's attention. Listen to me. Zombies are pouring in from the gate now, all go get weapons to deal with the zombies. We must defend the factory, Zhang Danian shouted at the top of his voice. As soon as this word spread, everyone was stunned. Zombies poured into the factory? When did it happen? Many people subconsciously flashed doubts. If they hadn't seen Zhang Danian's serious expression on his face, they really wouldn't believe this was the truth. What the hell are you still standing there for? Go get your weapons, Zhang Danian roared again. Now everyone finally woke up, didn't dare to hesitate, and ran to where they put their weapons. What's funny is that many drunk people fell to the ground while running. Roar. Although Su Qinkang is a second-level evolver with a very strong strength, he can't beat 4 hands with 2 fists, not to mention facing so many zombies. He can't stop the zombies by himself. The zombies kept pouring into the factory like locusts. Soon Zhang Danian and others came here. Seeing so many zombies, everyone was afraid. Kill, Su Qinkang frowned. We must stop them, the factory has been surrounded. What they can do now is to kill the zombies pouring in and not give the zombies behind them a chance to continue pouring in. After closing the door, they can find a way to lead the zombies away. This is their most effective way at present. The person who rushed to deal with the zombies was accidentally knocked down by the zombies, biting their flesh and blood, and screaming. Even if they were in a normal state, they might not be able to deal with so many zombies, not to mention that they were still drunk. After a while, Su Qinkang and others kept retreating. Some panicked people fled around the factory, preparing to flee back to their rooms and close the doors to avoid the zombies. As they fled, the zombies were obviously led to disperse. This caused the zombies to run around the factory. Lin Fan and others had been waiting in the confinement room for an opportunity. After seeing the situation outside, Lin Fan knew that the time had come. He walked outside and fired several shots at several zombies in succession, and the intervals between the shots were consistent. In the RV, Wang Jianwei, Mu Guoxian and Professor Zhou, after leading the zombies to surround the factory, the 3 of them quickly came to Zhang Yuanzhang's site and stayed with Zhang Yuanzhang waiting for the signal. Seeing that the zombies had surrounded them for quite a while, Wang Jianwei couldn't help but frown. It's been so long, why is there no movement? There won't be any other problems, right? Zhang Yuanzhang shook his head. It shouldn't be. Lin Fan's plan is perfect, there's nothing wrong here, and there won't be any mistakes on their side. Yes, wait patiently, Mu Guoxian nodded. Mu Linger was still in the factory, so he was naturally worried, but he still chose to believe Lin Fan. At this time, 5 gunshots came from the direction of the factory. 5 times. Each time was about 2 seconds apart. It was the signal they gave. Hearing the gunshots, Wang Jianwei said excitedly, we can drive up. Yes, Zhang Yuanzhang smiled and nodded. Without any delay, he started the RV, stepped on the accelerator, and drove out of the parking lot. Bang! Bang! Then, the RV quickly soared in speed and hit the zombies hard, and those sounds continued to spread. For this RV, crushing zombies is perfect. It smashed a bloody path through the zombie army and drove along the road to the factory gate. Su Qinkang, Zhang Danyan and others heard the sound of gunfire while dealing with zombies. Boss, it came from the confinement room. Zhang Danyan chopped 2 zombies to death with a knife, looked in the direction of the confinement room, and said to Su Qinkang. Confinement room. Su Qinkang's eyes flashed with a fierce light. For some reason, at this moment, the figures of Lin Fan and others appeared in his mind involuntarily. Especially Lin Fan, he felt that this zombie outbreak might be related to Lin Fan. Let's go, you guys, follow me to take a look. Su Qinkang clenched his palms and made a decision. This factory was completely attacked by zombies. Zombies were already running around in the factory. It would be useless for them to continue staying at the gate. They could not stop the zombies from pouring in. In this case, it would be better to verify whether his guess was correct. If it is correct, then he must get rid of Lin Fan and others in order to relieve his hatred. Hearing Su Qinkang's order, Zhang Danyan and others nodded in agreement, and quickly followed Su Qinkang and ran towards the confinement room. There were a total of 8 people in the group, all of whom were evolvers. However, Su Qinkang was the only level 2 evolver, and the other 7 were all level 1 evolvers, with varying strengths. Outside the confinement room, Lin Fan and others were dealing with some zombies approaching them. Brother Lin Fan, are we just waiting like this now? Mulinger asked. Yes, just wait here, Brother Jang will drive over to pick us up soon, Lin Fan nodded. The number of zombies is too large, and it is not an easy task for them to rush out, and it will take too much risk. Therefore, the best way is to wait where they are, and then sit in the RV, and everything will be safe. Chapter 102 must stay. The factory gate is not far from the confinement room, especially for the evolvers like Su Qinkang and his 8 companions. Even if there are zombies blocking them, it will not have much impact on them. After a while, the 8 of them came to the confinement room. When they saw Lin Fan and others coming out of the confinement room, they understood something. In particular, the moment Su Qinkang and Zhang Danyan found Zhuang Xianjun, they reacted completely. Lin Fan. How dare you lie to us? Zhang Danyan shouted angrily. The information Lin Fan revealed to them was that Zhuang Xianjun was dead, but now Zhuang Xianjun appeared in front of them alive and kicking. Even a fool would know that he was fooled. No, Lin Fan replied indifferently. Zhang Danyan's face turned ashen, and he had the urge to rush up and cut Lin Fan into pieces. Su Qinkang put a hand on his shoulder to suppress his urge. Did you attract these zombies? Su Qinkang stared at Lin Fan and asked in a low voice. No, Lin Fan still responded with 3 words indifferently. Su Qinkang clenched his palms suddenly, his joints turned slightly wide, and he said word by word, I should have killed you on the first day. This is the thing he regrets the most. Why didn't he kill Lin Fan and others on the first day? If he had done it on the first day, how could this happen now? You know, it took him a lot of effort to lead this factory and run it so stably. The influx of this wave of zombies tonight is equivalent to completely destroying everything, without even room for turning back. And this is all thanks to Lin Fan and others. Haha, there is no point in regretting now, what do you think? Lin Fan showed a disdainful smile on his face. Boss. Don't say more to him. When he falls into my hands, I will cut off his tongue and feed it to the zombies, Zhang Danyan said angrily. Su Qinkang naturally wanted to kill Lin Fan and others more than anyone else, but he noticed that Lin Fan and others had guns in their hands, so he didn't let Zhang Danyan rush up rashly. However, his anger could no longer be suppressed. He must kill Lin Fan and then imprison Murinzu and others and torture them every day. Even if all the other ordinary people in the factory died, as long as Zhang Danyan and other evolvers were still there, it would be fine. Therefore, at this time, there was only one goal, to kill Lin Fan. Be careful, they all have guns in their hands. Use zombies to resist. Find an opportunity to get close. Don't kill women. Leave all women alive, Su Qinkang gave an order. Yes, boss, Zhang Danyan and the other 7 answered in unison. As soon as the voice fell, the 8 people took action together and approached Lin Fan and others. Just shoot them, don't fight them hard, Lin Fan said. The battle emphasizes the winner. No matter what method is used, winning is the kingly way. With a gun in hand and an advantage, it is natural to make full use of the advantage. Bang! Bang! Zhang Xianjun's two teammates took the lead in pulling the trigger and shot at Su Qingkang and others. Facing the bullets, Su Qingkang and his companions did not dare to be careless and could only use the zombies that shuttled through the area to resist. Brother Zhang, let's not use the laser guns for now, save them as a trump card. Lin Fan quietly came to Zhang Xianjun's side and reminded him in a low voice. Okay, Zhang Xianjun nodded. The laser gun is the most lethal firearm in their hands, and it should be kept for later use when the time is right. At present, there are so many zombies shuttled, and it is not certain that they can hit them if they use it, and it will also make Su Qingkang and his companions more vigilant. Bang! Bang! Lin Fan and Zhang Xianjun took out their pistols and shot at Su Qingkang and his companions. The two of them had the best marksmanship, and the bullets almost hit each other. With so many bullets fired, Su Qingkang and his companions could not get close at all, and had to retreat, lest there were no zombies to resist after the distance between the two sides was shortened, and they would face a very dangerous situation. Boss. They have too many guns in their hands, we can't get close, Zhang Danian said. You three, go get your guns. We'll hold them here, Su Qingkang quickly gave the order. Their guns were stored in a room, and they were not usually distributed to everyone, unless they were going out to do something and had to apply for them. Okay, boss, we'll go now, be careful. Zhang Danian nodded, looked at the other two evolvers, and gave them a look. The two evolvers did not hesitate, and hurriedly followed Zhang Danian and ran towards the room where the guns were stored. Although there were many zombies along the way, for the three of them, these zombies could not cause too much trouble, and they soon arrived at their destination. The three of them each took a backpack, stuffed a lot of guns into the backpack, and quickly left the room and returned to the confinement room. At the same time, the RV driven by Zhang Yuanzhang broke in from the factory gate and also headed straight for the confinement room. During the time they stayed in the factory, they were very familiar with the structure and roads inside the factory. In addition, the RV did not have to be afraid of these zombies at all, so they appeared on the field outside the confinement room faster than Zhang Danian and the other two. Bang! Bang! The RV was like a tank, either crushing the zombies to death or smashing them into pieces. What kind of car is that? When the evolvers around Su Qingkang saw the RV, their eyes widened. Transformed car, Su Qingkang's eyes narrowed slightly. Under their gaze, the RV went straight to Lin Fan and others, then suddenly stepped on the brakes and stopped in front of Lin Fan and others. After Zhang Yuanzhang opened the door, Wang Jianwei immediately shouted to the outside, Ziafan, get in the car quickly, get in the car. Lin Fan narrowed his eyes. Murongsu, Murongshan, Zhang Zintong, Lin Xiaoxio, Ding Ruia and Zhang Xianjun's other two teammates quickly entered the RV. Just when Lin Fan and Zhang Xianjun were about to get on the RV, Zhang Danian and the other two arrived here with guns. Although the three of them were also surprised by the arrival of the RV, they did not pay too much attention and quickly distributed the guns to Su Qingkang and others. After getting the gun, Su Qingkang's eyes flashed with a strong murderous intent, and he said, we must keep them at all costs, and we must not let them have the opportunity to leave. Do you understand? Understood. Su Qingkang's words immediately filled Zhang Danian and others with murderous intent. Su Qingkang knew very well that if he gave Lin Fan and others the opportunity to leave at this time, then there was no doubt that they would never meet Lin Fan and others again in the future. Even if the chance of meeting them was very small, it was unknown how long it would take. Therefore, he would not let Lin Fan and others leave safely no matter what, otherwise the hard work he invested in this factory would not only be destroyed, but he would not even be able to find someone to vent his anger. Chapter 103. Don't worry about the car. Brother Zhang, drive quickly and wait for me and Brother Zhang at the dock outside. Lin Fan also made a quick decision. What? Zhang Yuanzhang was stunned. Xiao Fan, you won't follow? Wang Jianwei asked hurriedly. Murongzu and others also looked at Lin Fan closely. If we all get in the car, they will probably stop us and we won't be able to get away. Lin Fan glanced at Su Qingkang and others and said, they are determined to stop us now. We must have someone to deal with them. In short, you should leave here quickly and don't waste time. Su Qingkang is a second-level evolver, and Zhang Danian and others who follow him are also strong. If these guys try their best to stop them, the RV itself may not be damaged by them, but the wheels are not completely protected by steel. Once the wheels are blown up, the situation will become very tricky. Okay, then we will wait for you at the dock, and you should come as soon as possible. Zhang Yuanzhang knew that Lin Fan would not change his decision, so he had to agree immediately. After saying that, he closed the car door, turned the car around, and prepared to leave here. "Stop them," Su Qinkang shouted. Bang! 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 Zhang Danian and others kept pulling the trigger, and bullets flew out one by one, blowing up the zombies' heads and hitting the RV. However, the RV was protected by a thick layer of steel plate. The bullets hit it, at most leaving marks, but could not penetrate the steel plate. This means that Zhang Yuanzheng and others in the RV at least don't have to worry about being hit by bullets. "Don't hit the car body, hit the tires." Su Qinkang's face was full of anger, and he said, "If the tires are blown up, I wonder how they can leave." When Su Qinkang gave this order, Lin Fan also turned his head to Zhang Xianjun and said, "Brother Zhang, it's our turn." Yeah, Zhang Xianjun had already prepared. Bang! Bang! Lin Fan and Zhang Xianjun ran to both sides, shooting as they ran, and bullets flew towards Su Qinkang and others from two directions. With the interference of Lin Fan and Zhang Xianjun, Su Qinkang and others' blocking work would naturally be greatly affected. They had to avoid the bullets fired by Lin Fan and Zhang Xianjun. For a while, gunshots continued to ring in this area, and more zombies were attracted by the noise created by the gunshots. Bang! Lin Fan rolled over and avoided the attack of 3 zombies. He focused his eyes, found the right time, pulled the trigger in his hand, and a bullet flew out. The next moment, the bullet hit the thigh of the revolver, accompanied by a scream. The revolver was shot in the thigh, and the severe pain made him unable to stand firm. He staggered and fell to the ground. Roar! The zombies around him, like hungry wolves, swarmed towards him, completely pressed his body under him, and kept tearing and gnawing. The scream did not last long. In less than 10 seconds, the revolver was killed by the zombies. Damn it! Su Qinkang also saw this scene. He cursed in his heart again. He didn't expect that Lin Fan would kill one of them so quickly. The most important thing was that with the interference of Lin Fan and Zhang Xianjun, they couldn't stop the RV driven by Zhang Yuanzheng. After a short while, Zhang Yuanzheng had turned the car around and was heading towards the factory gate. Of course, there was another reason. The movement here attracted a large number of zombies. These zombies gathered here, which could not cause much impact on the RV, but would hinder them from shooting. There were several moments when he aimed at the tires of the RV, but the bullets could only hit the moving zombies at the moment they were fired, and they didn't even have the chance to get close to the tires of the car. "Boss, there are too many zombies now, we can't stop the car from leaving." Zhang Danian had been around Su Qinkang, looked at the RV, and said with a frown, "Don't worry about the car, let it go." Su Qinkang took a deep breath and changed his previous decision, saying, "But Lin Fan and Zhang Xianjun, the two of them, must leave their lives here. The RV moves fast and is not afraid of zombies, so they have no way. And Lin Fan and Zhang Xianjun are not on the car, and they are in the same environment as them. He doesn't believe that the 7 of them can't solve Lin Fan and Zhang Xianjun together." Hearing Su Qinkang's voice, Zhang Danian and the other 6 immediately nodded, no longer paying attention to the RV, and focusing all their attention on Lin Fan and Zhang Xianjun. Bang! Bang! Zhang Yuanzheng stepped on the accelerator to the bottom, and the RV's speed soared suddenly, hitting the zombies and leaving here, and soon arrived at the factory gate and drove out along the road. Seeing Zhang Yuanzheng and others leave safely, Lin Fan's eyes flashed with a smile, and he no longer had any worries. Next, he will play with Su Qinkang and others. "You 4 go deal with Zhang Xianjun, and we 3 go deal with Lin Fan." Su Qinkang had a sinister sneer on his face, and said, "Don't worry too much now. It's impossible that they have endless bullets. When they're run out of bullets, I wonder how arrogant they can be. Every revolver is a precious resource. He has already lost one just now, so Su Qinkang naturally doesn't want to see Zhang Danian and the other 6 get into trouble again. After all, with Zhang Danian and other revolvers in his hands, the worst that can happen is to move to another place, and he can still make a comeback." Of course, until now, Su Qinkang and the others didn't know that Lin Fan and Zhang Xianjun were revolvers. With the arrangement, Su Qinkang immediately took Zhang Danian and the other 3 to Lin Fan's side, and the other 4 revolvers approached Zhang Xianjun. Although Zhang Xianjun faced 4 revolvers and Lin Fan faced 3 revolvers, on the surface, Zhang Xianjun seemed to be facing a greater danger, but in fact, Su Qinkang alone was equivalent to several first-level revolvers. Su Qingkang could also see that Lin Fan was better than Zhuang Xianjun in terms of shooting skills, so he wanted to deal with Lin Fan himself. Bang! Bang! Gunshots rang out and bullets flew. Zombies fell to the ground one after another. Don Hian, you two go to the left, I'll be on the right, and slowly force him back to the blind spot at the back. Su Qingkang took a look at the current situation and noticed that Lin Fan was retreating to a blind spot on the confinement room. When he reached that blind spot, even if Lin Fan still had enough bullets, he would be trapped in their jar. Hearing this, Zhang Danyan and the evolver looked at each other, and while dealing with the zombies, they leaned to the left and shot at Lin Fan from time to time. Unfortunately, their marksmanship was not very good, and most of the bullets hit the zombies without even a chance to touch Lin Fan, let alone a chance to hit Lin Fan. Chapter 104, Punch Through the Palm. Su Qingkang knew that Zhang Danyan and the other two were not good at shooting, and he did not expect them to be able to shoot Lin Fan in an environment with so many zombies. While dealing with the zombies, he was also looking for an opportunity to shoot. Bang! The next moment, he seemed to have found the right time and pulled the trigger. A bullet quickly flew out of the dark muzzle and headed straight for Lin Fan's head. The bullet was said to be among the zombies and was not stopped by the moving zombies. Just when the bullet was about to hit Lin Fan, an accident suddenly occurred. Lin Fan sensed the danger and his head suddenly turned to the side at the fastest speed. At this moment, the bullet just flew away from Lin Fan's ear and hit the head of the zombie behind him. With a bang, the zombie's head exploded. Impossible! Su Qingkang's eyes burst into strong disbelief. He couldn't believe that Lin Fan could dodge a bullet. Unless Lin Fan was an evolver and his reaction ability was strengthened. This kid's body must have evolved. Otherwise, he would never be able to avoid it, Su Qingkang thought to himself. When Lin Fan dodged the bullet, he saw it clearly. The bullet was so fast, and he could dodge it in that situation. How could an ordinary person do it? Only an evolver could do it. Moreover, he had to be a strong evolver. Even someone like Zhang Danyan couldn't dodge it. He really didn't expect that Lin Fan hit it so deeply. He had the strength of an evolver, but he never showed it in front of them. No wonder he asked Lin Fan and others to collect 1,000 kilograms of supplies a day, and Lin Fan and others could do it easily. Bang! After dodging the bullet, Lin Fan took a step and dealt with the two zombies approaching him. He also raised his gun and pulled the trigger. A bullet flew towards Su Qingkang. Su Qingkang's reaction and speed data were both 8, which was naturally not bad at all. When he heard the gunshot, he found a way to dodge and blocked his body behind a zombie. The bullet hit the zombie as expected. Lin Fan discovered a pattern from here, that is, when Su Qingkang dodged bullets, he liked to use zombies to dodge, and would not directly avoid the root of the bullet. This undoubtedly provided him with a good opportunity. Lin Fan did not take Zhang Danyan and the other person seriously. He just needed to pay a little attention to them. These two guys were not good at shooting, and they didn't even have the chance to get close. The only thing he had to pay attention to was Su Qingkang. Once Su Qingkang was eliminated, Zhang Danyan and the other two would naturally become frightened birds. He fired 2 shots at Zhang Danyan and the other two in succession, and Zhang Danyan and the other two also used zombies to block the bullets. Then, he shot at Su Qingkang again. Su Qingkang did not realize Lin Fan's true intention, and hid behind the zombies again, letting the zombies take the bullet for him. However, at this moment, Lin Fan took out a laser gun, aimed at the zombie in front of Su Qingkang, pulled the trigger, and a laser burst out, quickly piercing the zombie's body. With his keen perception, Su Qingkang, perhaps sensing the breath of danger, did not care about anything and quickly dodged to the right. Although his reaction and speed were not slow, compared with the speed of the laser gun, it was still a little worse. He dodged it with his body, but his left palm could not. The laser gun burst out and hit the palm of his left hand. A painful cry came out of Su Qingkang's mouth. He looked at his palm quickly. A bloody hole appeared in the middle of his palm, and blood kept flowing down the hole. The power of the laser gun was quite fierce, and it also brought a scorching high-temperature damage. Therefore, the blood hole in the palm also felt like it was burned by high temperature. Even though Su Qingkang was a second-level evolver, his face was distorted, his eyes twitched, his whole hand trembled, and his face gradually turned pale under such severe pain. Laser gun. Zhang Danyan saw the scene clearly from the other side. He knew that Lin Fan was holding a laser gun. Where did this kid get this weapon? Another evolver's face was full of disbelief. He really couldn't imagine where Lin Fan got such a mysterious weapon as a laser gun. "Boss. Are you okay?" Zhang Danian took a deep breath and turned his gaze to Su Qinkang and asked. Su Qinkang was in unbearable pain at the moment, so he had no intention of answering Zhang Danian's question. At the same time, he was also shocked that Lin Fan had a laser gun. It was not that he had not seen a gun on Lin Fan's back before, but he only thought that the gun looked special in appearance, and at most it was more powerful than a pistol or a submachine gun, so he just had to find a good zombie to hide from. He never thought that the gun on Lin Fan's back was actually a laser gun. Even if there were zombies blocking this thing, it might not be safe, unless there were a lot of zombies blocking it. A smile flashed in Lin Fan's eyes, and the performance of this laser gun did not disappoint him. He continued to pull the trigger, and the laser burst out, continuing to attack Su Qinkang. Although Su Qinkang was in unbearable pain, he could only grit his teeth and hold it back at this time. He quickly dodged and ran among the zombies. When facing bullets, he can still use zombies to resist. When facing laser guns, he has no choice but to dodge. The key is that in the process of dodging, he must use his right hand to deal with the zombies around him. After all, the palm of his left hand is pierced, which is equivalent to the left hand losing its combat effectiveness. If the right hand does not deal with the zombies, if it is bitten by the zombies, he will definitely die. This battle with unfair numbers has completely reversed since Lin Fan took out the laser gun and pierced Su Qinkang's left hand. Zhang Danian and another evolver felt the power of the laser gun from Su Qinkang, and they also carefully shuttled among the zombies, ready to guard against Lin Fan shooting at them at any time. Swish! The laser gun swept the zombies, like a super chainsaw, continuously sawing the zombies' bodies. Lin Fan did not pull the trigger slowly as before, but pressed the trigger without releasing it, and the effect was quite impressive. "Ah! Brother Nian! Save me!" The evolver who followed Zhang Danian was not able to dodge in time, and was just swept by the laser gun at the knee. His calf below the knee was cut off, causing him to fall to the ground unsteadily. While screaming in pain, he also asked Zhang Danian for help. When facing the real threat of death, how could he not be afraid? A strong desire to survive burst out in his eyes. However, Zhang Danian was in danger now, so how could he save him? He continued to run forward, avoiding the attack of the laser gun to avoid being affected. He didn't want to die, and Zhang Danian didn't want to die either. At this critical moment, nothing was more important than his own life. Chapter 105 Killing Su Qinkang. Roar. After the evolver fell to the ground, the zombies roared and rushed towards him. Bang! Bang! He pulled the trigger of the gun in his hand continuously, and bullets flew out one by one, killing 7 or 8 zombies. But there were too many zombies here, and the subsequent zombies continued to rush towards him. The bullets in his gun had been used up, and he could no longer blow up the zombies' heads. The zombies kept rushing at him, and he could only hear his screams, and soon he was killed by the zombies. Lin Fan didn't pay much attention to these. From the moment the man's knee was broken, he knew that there was no possibility of survival for that man. His eyes were locked back and forth on Su Qinkang and Zhang Danian. After Su Qinkang and Zhang Danian realized the power of the laser gun, they naturally didn't dare to have a head-on conflict with Lin Fan again. Both of them had the idea of retreating in their hearts. Even if they were angry with Lin Fan just now, they had to bow their heads in front of his absolute strength. Especially Su Qinkang, who finally had such strong strength and became a second-level evolver. Under normal circumstances, he would not have to worry about anything when fighting with Lin Fan. But in this situation, if he died here, he would definitely die with regret. Only by being alive can he have the chance to take revenge. Only by being alive can he have the chance to grow stronger. At this moment, he no longer thought about killing Lin Fan now, but just wanted to save his life first. Lin Fan noticed that Su Qinkang and Zhang Danian had the intention to retreat, so he naturally would not give Su Qinkang and Zhang Danian a chance to escape. He started running in the direction of the two people's retreat, with a laser gun in his hand ready to shoot at any time. Zhang Danian's speed was obviously not comparable to Lin Fan's, especially under the premise that there were zombies blocking the way. His reaction would also have a certain impact on his speed of movement. After a while, the distance between Lin Fan and Zhang Danian had been shortened. Lin Fan found the right opportunity. Without any hesitation, he pulled the trigger, and the laser burst out. The laser swept across, and the zombies in front of him were cut in half one by one. Zhang Danian's eyes widened as he looked at the laser that was approaching him quickly. He was sweating all over his body. His entire back was wet with sweat, and his legs were uncontrollably weak. In the end, he still couldn't avoid the attack of the laser gun. The laser line swept across his waist, cutting his entire body apart and quickly falling to the ground. Su Qingkang, who was running away, saw the fate of Zhang Danian and his heart shrank slightly. Bang! Bang! He gritted his teeth, held the pistol in his right hand, pulled the trigger twice, and attacked Lin Fan at the right time. Lin Fan was well prepared and knew that Su Qingkang would find an opportunity to counterattack. The moment he heard the gunshot, he lowered his head and rolled on the ground, perfectly avoiding the bullet attack. Click! Click! When he stood up from the ground, 2 zombies pounced in front of him. He jumped up and kicked out in the air with 2 feet, kicking the heads of the 2 zombies to pieces. Then, he rushed forward quickly, and when he came to the flower bed, he stepped on the edge of the flower bed, and his body jumped to a higher point. His eyes were fixed on Su Qingkang's figure, and he pulled the trigger, firing another laser sweep. Su Qingkang was indeed a capable person. Sensing the danger, he didn't care about the large group of zombies in front of him, and his body suddenly flew out to quickly avoid the range of the laser sweep. Lin Fan raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth. When his body was about to fall, he raised his elbow quickly, and the laser swept forward, but it just swept Su Qingkang's left arm. With the powerful power of the laser gun, Su Qingkang's arm was cut off in an instant. A miserable scream came out of Su Qingkang's mouth. The pain of the whole arm being cut off was no less than the pain of the palm being pierced before, and it was so painful that he couldn't stop crying. For Su Qingkang, the biggest luck might be that this laser swept his left hand instead of his right hand. After all, his left hand had been pierced through the palm, which temporarily made him lose his fighting power, and he couldn't even hold a gun. Now that his entire left arm was cut off, the impact on his fighting power was not that great compared to before. If his right arm was cut off, it would be a truly fatal blow to him, causing him to lose the power of both hands at the same time. It would be impossible for him to run out of the zombies' encirclement by just running on his legs. Enduring the severe pain, Su Qingkang quickly got up from the ground and continued to run with red eyes. Lin Fan shuttled through the zombies at a faster speed. There happened to be a tall poplar tree next to him. He put the gun behind his back, hugged the trunk with both hands, and quickly climbed up. Then, he picked up the laser gun again, swept his side across the zombies, and locked onto Su Qingkang's figure again. At this time, Su Qingkang's arm was bleeding continuously, and he looked as embarrassed as he could be, and he no longer had the demeanor of a boss. Lin Fan's eyes fixed, and he continued to pull the trigger. The laser flashed out, locking the position of Su Qingkang's figure and predicting the position where Su Qingkang would move next. Su Qingkang could feel the danger coming. He turned his steps and ran to the left front, avoiding the initial attack of the laser gun. However, Lin Fan predicted Su Qingkang's escape route without any mistakes. When Su Qingkang rushed to the left front, the laser gun still swept him, from the side of his body, and swept diagonally to his shoulder. Before he could even scream, his body was split into 2 and fell to the ground. At the moment his life ended, he did not close his eyes. A second-level evolver fell here. Lin Fan took a look at Su Qingkang's body, then retracted his gaze and stopped paying attention. He quickly shifted his sights to the battlefield on Zhuang Xianjun's side. Without any delay, he immediately ran over to support. In fact, with Lin Fan's current strength, it is possible to defeat Su Qingkang without using a laser gun. After all, his various data have reached 7, plus his rich combat experience, he has a chance to win. But the battlefield is like this, no one cares what means you use, all they care about is the final result. To win with faster and more effective means, you naturally have to make the right choice. On Zhuang Xianjun's side, he still has a hard time dealing with 4 people alone. However, as a captain of a special forces unit, his abilities in all aspects are unquestionable. Especially in the use of tactics, which is much stronger than those 4 people. Using the blocking of these zombies, although he did not kill any of the opponents, he did not let the opponents take any advantage, and it was nothing more than a stalemate. There was even an evolver who had 2 fingers cut off by him with a laser gun. Chapter 106 All solved. The RV is parked at the seaside pier. As Lin Fan said before, Zheng Yuanzhang drove out of the factory and came directly to this place. Lin Xiaoxiao's beautiful eyes kept looking in the direction of the factory, her heart full of worry. My brother and the others will be fine, right? Lin Xiaoxiao couldn't help but say. Xiaoxiao, you have to believe in your brother, they will definitely be fine. Murinzu walked up to Lin Xiaoxiao and comforted her. You know your brother's character, he won't do anything he is not sure of. Since he asked us to drive away, it means that he must have a way to solve it. Hearing Murinzu's comfort, Lin Xiaoxiao was relieved. In fact, Murinzu was also worried. Although Lin Fan and Zhuang Xianjun were both strong, Su Qingkang and others were also not easy to deal with, so it was impossible not to worry. Should we drive back to have a look? Wang Jianwei said. Don't, Zheng Yuanzhang shook his head. It's not that I'm afraid of death, but Lin Fan and the others held the other side, which gave us the opportunity to leave first. If we return rashly, if we get into danger, all our previous efforts will be in vain. Yes, it took a lot of effort to come up with such a good plan, and we can't let our efforts go to waste. Mu Guishan nodded. How about this? I'll go back alone to take a look, and you continue to wait here, Murongsa said. Miss Murin, don't act alone. Even if you have to go back to check, it will be safer for us to go with you, Zhang Xianjun's teammates said. Yes, sister, we are all evolvers. If we want to go back to check the situation, we should go together, Murongshan followed. Okay, then the four of us will go back, Murongsa nodded. Professor Mu, you stay here and wait for our news. The four evolvers have enough self-protection power against zombies, so there is no need to worry too much. Be careful, Mu Guishan warned. Be safe. Zheng Yuanzhang and Wang Jianwei also followed suit. Yes, Murinzu nodded, her beautiful eyes looking at the other party's guns. Each person should bring 2 guns, just in case. 4 people, with a total of 8 guns, got off the RV, and headed back to the factory quickly, led by Murinzu. The factory was full of zombies. Many people hid in the rooms. Those with solid doors were not a big problem. Those with loose doors had been knocked open by zombies, and no one survived. And more people died in the mouths of zombies in their previous drunken state. As for the confinement room, the battle was already in full swing. Don't waste time with him, force him to go up and kill him, an evolver said. Okay, the other 3 evolvers nodded. Their previous battlefield was divided into 2 different directions from Lin Fan and his group. Because the number of zombies was too dense, they still didn't know that Su Qingkang and the other 2 had been wiped out by Lin Fan. Tisk. Just when they were about to forcefully besiege Zhuang Xianjun, a laser shot from behind and directly cut the body of the evolver mentioned at the beginning in half. This sudden scene startled the other 3 people, and they quickly turned back to look behind. In their sight, Lin Fan was holding a laser gun and shuttled between the zombies, running quickly. Moreover, while running, he was aiming the laser gun at the next evolver. Not good. The boss and the others are in trouble. The face of the evolver who looked a little thin changed drastically. Lin Fan came here to support, so he naturally realized the seriousness of the matter. As soon as he finished speaking, he hurriedly shouted, "Get out of the way!" When his shot spread, a laser shot over like lightning. Although the man noticed it, his speed and reaction data had just reached the standard of a first-level evolver, that is, a value of 4, which was not even comparable to Zhang Danian, let alone avoiding it in this situation. Therefore, the laser shot at him without any accident and also cut his body in half. Run! The remaining 2 evolvers, fully aware that they had lost all their advantages, turned around and retreated. At the beginning, the 4 of them could still suppress Zhang Xianjun in terms of numbers. But now with the addition of Lin Fan, they killed their 2 teammates in a blink of an eye, which was equivalent to the complete disappearance of their numerical advantage. More importantly, Lin Fan and Zhuang Xianjun both had powerful weapons such as laser guns, while they only had pistols in their hands. Unless Lin Fan and Zhuang Xianjun stood and let them fight, they would never be able to win. Brother Zhuang, each of us will kill one. Lin Fan glanced in the direction of Zhuang Xianjun and smiled faintly. Okay, Zhuang Xianjun smiled and nodded in response. Then, the 2 of them shuttled through the zombies, killing the zombies while chasing the 2 fleeing evolvers. In less than half a minute, Lin Fan and Zhuang Xianjun found the right opportunity. The 2 pulled the trigger one after the other, and 2 lasers flew out one after another, aiming at the heads of the 2 evolvers and piercing through the back of their heads. Before the 2 evolvers fell to the ground, the zombies around them had already surrounded them, opened their mouths, and ruthlessly bit their bodies. Bang! Bang! Lin Fan kicked several zombies' heads and quickly came to Zhuang Xianjun. Zhang Xianjun glanced at Lin Fan and couldn't help but praise him. Brother Lin, your strength is really too strong. You can even deal with Su Qinkang and his men so quickly. If you hadn't come to help, I don't know how long I would have to deal with them. Zhang Xianjun admired Lin Fan's strength from the bottom of his heart, without any flattery at all. He knew very well that if he were to deal with Su Qinkang and his 3 men, even with a weapon like a laser gun in his hand, he might not be a match for Su Qinkang and his 3 men, and he might soon be forced into a desperate situation by Su Qinkang and his 3 men. Brother Zhang, don't be so modest. The cooperation of these 4 people is still very good. The fact that you can deal with them is enough to show that you have strong overall quality. Lin Fan responded with a smile, and then changed the subject and said, those who should be killed have been killed. As for the rest of the people in this factory, if they can survive, then they are lucky. If they can't survive, they can only blame themselves for following the wrong people. As he said, Lin Fan looked towards the dock and said, let's leave here first and go to the dock to meet Brother Jiang and the others, otherwise they will worry about whether something has happened to us. Okay, Zhang Xianjun nodded again. It has been a while, and it is time for them to meet up. The 2 did not delay any longer and quickly rushed out of the factory. Chapter 107. Stay here. On a road outside the factory, Murengzu and the other 3 ran quickly, heading towards the factory. The 4 of them were null evolvers, and the zombies on the road did not cause much hindrance to them. Not long after, the factory appeared in their sight. Let's go in from the side, Murengzu suggested. Zombies were pouring in from the front gate continuously. Although they were not afraid, it would take more time. Okay, Murengzhen and the other 3 obviously had no objection. Just as they changed direction and prepared to enter from the left side of the factory, a shout came over, what are you doing? Hearing this voice, Murengzu and the other 4 were slightly stunned, and hurriedly looked towards the source of the voice. When they saw clearly that it was Lin Fan and Zhang Xianjun, a touch of surprise appeared on their faces. Bang! As the shout spread, the surrounding zombies immediately gathered towards Lin Fan and Zhang Xianjun. They raised their feet and kicked out, quickly kicking the heads of more than 10 zombies, and then rushed to Murengzu and the other 4 before more zombies surrounded them. Didn't I tell you to wait at the dock? Why did you run out? Lin Fan asked. Brother Lin Fan, we were worried about you, so we came to check on you, Murengzhen replied weakly. Lin Fan could naturally see the worry in the faces of Murengzu and the others. Now that everyone was fine, he didn't want to blame anyone, so he shook his head and said, Su Qinkang and Zhang Danyan have been dealt with. This factory is completely destroyed. Let's go back first, there are still many zombies here, so there is no need to waste time. The 6 people returned along the original route and soon returned to the RV at the dock. Lin Xiaoxiao and the others breathed a sigh of relief when they saw Lin Fan and the other 6 people return safely. The stone hanging in their hearts finally fell. Xiao Fan, are we going back to the base now? Wang Jianwei asked. Don't worry, it's getting late. It won't be too late to go back to the base after daybreak. Lin Fan looked in the direction of the factory. After all, there are still a lot of supplies in the factory. If these supplies can be saved, don't waste them. If possible, take them all back to the base. Anyway, they will be eaten sooner or later, haha. Yes, we have contributed a lot of the supplies in there in the past few days. No matter what, we can't waste them, Wang Jianwei laughed. If we want to transport those supplies back, we will get some oil during the day and fill up the oil of the other 2 ships. It will be much more convenient to transport them together with 3 ships, Zhang Xianjun said. Well, in addition to the supplies in the factory, the rice in the warehouse still needs to be transported back to the base in batches. Putting it in the warehouse is a safety factor after all. It is very likely to be discovered by other survivors. It is more appropriate to transport it earlier, Lin Fan added. There is so much rice in the warehouse. I am afraid that it will take many times to transport it with 3 ships, Wang Jianwei sighed. It would be better if it can never be transported, Lin Fan smiled. No one would have too much supplies, which are related to survival. Okay, everyone is busy today, let's take a break now and start processing supplies early tomorrow, Lin Fan said, and walked to the back of the RV to find a place to sit down and rest. Murengzu and others didn't say anything more, and each found a place to sleep and adjust their state. In this RV, they are safer and can sleep well. The next morning, just after dawn, Lin Fan and his party woke up from their sleep. Eat something first, and after eating, we will split up, One group will go to the factory to lead the zombies away, and the other group will go to find oil, which can save a lot of time, Lin Fan arranged. After a night of zombie siege, there must be very few people who can survive in the factory, which is no longer a concern. But so many zombies gather together, and they will not disperse for no reason without being attracted by other things. Therefore, if they want to move supplies from the factory, they must lead the zombies away first to make it more convenient. It didn't take much time to eat. After finishing eating, Lin Fan looked at everyone and said, "Brother Zhang, you take a group of people to find oil or go to the factory to clean it up, then let's go find oil," Zhang Xianjun said. "Okay," Lin Fan nodded. Zhang Xianjun didn't delay. He took his two teammates, Mu Guoshan and Professor Zhou out of the RV and drove away in another car. "Brother Zhang, let's go to the factory." After Zhang Xianjun and others left, Lin Fan looked at Zhang Yuanzhang and said, "Just use the RV to keep honking the horn to attract those zombies." "Okay," Zhang Yuanzhang nodded, started the RV, and rushed towards the factory. Roar! The factory was full of zombies. Although there were no living people walking outside, these zombies were crowded outside some closed doors, lining up in a long line, causing the entire factory to be full of zombies. There was no need to guess that there were people in those rooms, attracting the attention of the zombies. The people in the room were in this state. If the zombies kept surrounding them, they would be waiting to die. Without food or drink, and not daring to rush out to fight the zombies, the doom of death would soon befall them. However, they were lucky. When Lin Fan and others arrived at the factory gate, Zhang Yuanzhang pressed the horn at Lin Fan's nod. The horn of the RV had also been specially modified, and the sound was extremely loud, which spread directly throughout the factory. Such a loud horn undoubtedly attracted the attention of the zombies. One by one, the zombies began to turn around and ran towards the factory gate. "Brother Zhang, you guys drive slowly to lead the zombies away. I'll go down and wait for you here," Lin Fan said. "Brother, what are you going down for now?" Lin Xiaoxiao asked curiously. Murinzu and others also looked at Lin Fan curiously. Wouldn't it be better to lead all the zombies away and then come back? From the situation of these zombies gathering, there should be people alive in this factory. I have to guard here, otherwise we will lead the zombies away, and they will come out and leave the factory with the supplies. Then our help will be in vain. Lin Fan smiled lightly. "Yes, these guys can do such a thing." Murin Shan nodded her little head. "Then I will stay here with you," Murinzu said. "Anyway, Brother Zhang is driving to lead the zombies away. There will be no danger." "Brother, I will stay too," Lin Xiaoxiao said. "And me," Murin Shan followed. Although Zhang Xintong and Ding Ruai did not speak, from their expressions, it can be seen that they also want to stay. It's mainly because they have been stuck in the car for a long time, and it's really boring. "How about you all stay here, and Brother Zhang and I will lead the zombies away," Wang Jianwei said tentatively. "Okay," Zhang Xintong and Ding Ruai looked at each other and nodded in tacit understanding. Chapter 180 is dead. Wang Jianwei opened his mouth and didn't know what to say for a moment at the tacit answer from Zhang Xintong and Ding Ruai. He swore that he was just asking tentatively, and he didn't expect to get such an answer. "Haha, then you all stay here, and Jianwei and I will lead the zombies away." Zhang Yuanzhang took a look at Wang Jianwei's appearance and couldn't help laughing. He could understand Wang Jianwei's mood at this moment. "Okay, Jianwei, you don't have to lead them too far, just about the same distance." Lin Fan nodded, then waved to Murinzu and the others. "Let's get out of the car." Zhang Yuanzhang opened the car door. Lin Fan and the others got out of the car, and quickly stood by the gate to prevent the zombies from surrounding them. Then, Zhang Yuanzhang turned the car around, continued to honk the horn, and left along the road at a slow speed. The zombies in the factory followed the horn and walked out one by one, closely following the RV and leaving the factory. After most of the zombies left the factory, Lin Fan and his friends walked back to the main gate and entered the factory. They didn't care about the scattered zombies, and they easily dealt with them. At this time, the people in the room heard the zombies outside gradually disappearing, and hurried to the window to look, and found that the zombies really did not gather at the door. The zombies seemed to have been attracted by the horn just now. Who honked the horn? Could it be that the boss and the others led the zombies away? It's very likely. Never mind, there are not many zombies outside now. Let's go out and take a look, the people in the room were discussing. They had not left the room since they were forced into the room by the zombies last night, so they naturally didn't know what happened outside. In the understanding of some of them, Su Qinkang, Zhang Danyan and others should still be alive, and subconsciously thought that Su Qinkang, Zhang Danyan and others led the zombies away. More than 20 people opened the door and walked out, and gathered together in an instant. Look over there, one of them glanced and saw Lin Fan and his men coming from the corner behind the building. Everyone focused their attention and a man with a thick beard said, "Isn't that guy Lin Fan, Lin Fan? Who is he?" Someone asked. "You may not have heard of him, but I know him. His team was brought back by Brother Nian and has been collecting supplies outside, collecting thousands of kilograms every day," the bearded man said. "Oh, that's the guy? That's what I heard. It seems that they were quite safe in the confinement room last night. There are too many beauties in his team, right? Don't let your imagination run wild. Can we touch these beauties? If we want to touch them, it must be the boss, I just said it casually. I don't dare to have any thoughts." While they were talking and discussing, Lin Fan had already walked over with Yuanzu and others. "Lin Fan, have you seen the boss and his men?" The bearded man looked at Lin Fan and asked. "These zombies were led away by the boss and his men, right? Su Qinkang is already dead. How can a dead man lead away the zombies?" Lin Fan replied calmly. "What did you say?" "The boss is dead." Everyone was shocked, and their faces showed an incredible look. "Impossible. How could the boss die when he's so powerful?" The bearded man frowned, pointed at Lin Fan, and said, "Don't talk nonsense, kid. If it weren't for the boss and his men leading away the zombies, who would lead away these zombies? According to you, Su Qinkang is invincible? He will never die?" Lin Fan sneered. Muran Sham couldn't stand it anymore, and snorted, "Of course these zombies were led away by our people. Maybe Su Qinkang followed them out with his zombie team." "Your people?" The bearded man frowned again. He did remember that there were more than these people in Lin Fan's team. "Yes, it was our people who led away the zombies." Muran Shan rolled her eyes at the bearded man. "You were lucky to survive the zombie attack last night," Lin Fan said calmly, "but now, I hope you can recognize one fact. Su Qinkang, Zhang Danyan and others are indeed dead. By the way, I can also tell you a truth. They died in my hands." "Ridiculous. If you were so powerful, would you have been locked up in the confinement room before?" The bearded man sneered. He was unwilling to believe what Lin Fan said. In his eyes, Su Qinkang was a real strong man who could not be defeated. Bang! Lin Fan moved his body and rushed to the bearded man quickly. He punched hard and hit the bearded man hard. Only a dull sound was heard. The bearded man's body flew backwards directly, flying more than 10 meters before falling back to the ground from midair. The others were completely stunned. They never thought that the power of Lin Fan's punch could reach this level. You know, the bearded man weighed more than 170 kilograms. A punch that sent a man weighing more than 170 kilograms flying more than 10 meters could only make them realize a problem quickly: the evolver. Except for the evolver, ordinary people could never possess such a powerful force. Ahem. After the bearded man landed on the ground, his face turned red and purple, and he covered his chest with his hand and started coughing violently. In fact, Lin Fan had already controlled the strength and position very well, otherwise, this punch could easily end the bearded man's life. "Does anyone have any objections now?" Lin Fan looked at the crowd and asked indifferently. Everyone closed their mouths and didn't dare to breathe. How could they dare to have any objections? "We will take away all the materials in this factory. I don't want to care whether you stay or leave, but don't affect us taking away the materials, otherwise there is only one end," Lin Fan said coldly. "Brother Lin Fan, can I ask where you are going?" a man older than Lin Fan asked. "Why?" Lin Fan glanced at him. "Can we follow you? We can help with things. As long as we have food and a place to live, it's fine," the man said. "Yes, let us follow. Otherwise we don't know where to go. We will do whatever you ask us to do and we will never refuse." The other people also expressed their opinions. The strength that Lin Fan showed just now has completely conquered them. They just want to live more safely. As for who to hang out with, that is not their concern. Lin Fan narrowed his eyes slightly and suddenly smiled. "It's okay for you to follow me, but I have to warn you first. If you dare to have any other thoughts, I will make you regret your choice." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109, Merger Plan. It is true that these people are ordinary people and do not have any special abilities. But human potential can be tapped, and if you want to develop on an island, you do need manpower investment at the beginning. Let alone other things, just moving the current materials and rice in the warehouse will require a lot of manpower to complete it faster. And if you want to open up wasteland and plant crops on that island at that time, the role of these people will be more reflected. We will never have any other intentions, the group of people promised hurriedly. Lin Fan nodded, glanced at the truck parked on the other side of the playground, and said, "Start moving all the materials in the factory to the truck now." "Yes, boss." One person took the lead and called Lin Fan the boss, and the others followed suit. When they were moving the materials, Murengzu asked, when Su Qinkang was alive, they recognized Su Qinkang as the boss. Now that Su Qinkang is dead, they immediately recognize you as the boss. Isn't it a bit unreliable? The question Murengzu asked was also a question that Zhang Xintong and the others were curious about. All their eyes were focused on Lin Fan. In order to survive in the doomsday, this kind of thing is actually very normal. They recognize Su Qinkang as the boss because Su Qinkang can provide them with a safe environment and food and shelter. Now they recognize me as the boss because they think I have enough ability to do all this. Lin Fan explained with a smile, "I kept them to use them to help do things." "Brother, do you want them to move supplies?" Lin smiled and asked. "Moving supplies is just one of them. There are still many things waiting for them to do later." Lin Fan pondered and said, "That island can be used as our base for development. After all, the machines on it can produce bullets, which cannot be done in other places, so I want to develop some planting on that island. I need people to cut down trees and clean them up, so that they have something to do." After hearing what Lin Fan said, Murengzu and others suddenly understood. Inside the RV, Zhang Yuan was driving the car, and Wang Jianwei was sitting in the co-pilot. "Brother Zhang, lead the zombies to the intersection ahead, that should be enough, right?" Wang Jianwei looked out and saw a fork in the road 1,000 meters ahead. "Well, that's about it. Once we get there, we'll take another detour back." Zhang Yuanshang nodded. Having made a decision, Zhang Yuanshang stepped on the accelerator, and the RV sped up, quickly pulling away from the zombies. When he reached the fork in the road, he turned the steering wheel and turned onto another road, returning to the factory along the road. When the RV was about to disappear around the corner, Wang Jianwei looked back and found that the zombies had walked towards that road as expected. "At first I thought these zombies were invincible, but after this period of time, they are not so scary anymore." Wang Jianwei smiled. "It's mainly because we've seen so much with Lin Fan during this period of time. They kill zombies like they were playing. After seeing so much, the psychological pressure is not so great, and naturally, facing zombies is not so scary." Zhang Yuanshang also laughed. "If you hadn't come to the prison at that time, I think I would have died in prison." It was Xiaofan's suggestion to go to the prison. "We were able to meet there. Which shows that it is also a kind of fate." Wang Jianwei smiled again. "It's comfortable to follow Xiaofan and have a big leg to hug. But this guy's luck with women is too good. All girls like him, and there is no chance for us to get out of singleness." "Which girl do you like?" Zhang Yuanshang heard the meaning of Wang Jianwei's words. "Hey, Zhang brother, if there is a girl in the team who can make me feel that there is a little chance, you should know which one it is." Wang Jianwei coughed dryly. "Ding Ruaya." Zhang Yuanshang said a name. "Yes." Wang Jianwei nodded his head as fast as a chicken pecking at rice. "Then you should have a chance," Zhang Yuanshang said. He guessed Ding Ruaya, mainly because among the girls in the team, Ding Ruaya was the only one who was relatively ordinary. Murengzu, Murengshan, and Zhang Xintong, these three obviously have no chance with Wang Jianwei. As for Lin Xiaoxio, Wang Jianwei should forget about it. That's Lin Fan's sister. Even if Lin Fan wants to find someone for Lin Xiaoxio, he should at least find someone who is very strong. At least, that's what he thinks. "Brother Zhang, I feel like Ding Ruaya also likes Xiaofan," Wang Jianwei said helplessly. "Lin Fan is too good, and he doesn't even have the qualifications to compare with Lin Fan. If Ding Ruaya likes Lin Fan, he thinks he has no chance of winning. But Lin Fan definitely doesn't like Ding Ruaya. In this case, if you take the initiative, you might be able to move the girl." Zhang Yuanshang counseled. "You are a man, You have to be proactive when chasing a girl. If you don't take the initiative, do you expect the girl to take the initiative to chase you? Encouraged by Zhang Yuanzhang's words, Wang Jianwei took a deep breath, a touch of confidence appeared on his face, and said, Brother Zhang, you are right. Whether you can catch up with her or not, at least you won't leave any regrets for yourself. Yes, even if you can't catch up with her, at least you have caught up with her and have no regrets. If you don't even dare to catch up with her, then you will always have a regret in your heart. Zhang Yuanzhang smiled faintly. The two chatted all the way and soon returned to the factory. Open the car door and get out of the car. What are they doing? Zhang Yuanzhang glanced at the people who were moving supplies to the truck, and a hint of confusion appeared on his face. Brother Zhang, they are following us now. Lin Fan asked them to move all the supplies in the factory to the truck and load them, Zhang Xintong said. Then are they going back to the base with us? Zhang Yuanzhang asked. Yes, Zhang Xintong repeated Lin Fan's idea. Zhang Yuanzhang agreed with Lin Fan's idea and said, that island is very large and has convenient water resources. It is definitely suitable for long-term survival. Even if conditions permit, Chen Xianlong and the others can all move here. Brother Zhang, you and I have the same idea. I am planning to do so, Lin Fan smiled and said, although the survivor base in Jiangnan City is not bad, it is not as safe as this island after all. Moreover, if they come to help, I think the speed of producing bullets will be faster, and there will be enough manpower to go out and look for various materials. Xiafan, when are you going to go back and notify Brother Chen and the others to come? Wang Jianwei asked hurriedly. No hurry, let's arrange this place first. Lin Fan shook his head and said. The main reason is that there are a large number of people over there. If they move here, they must ensure safety. They cannot act rashly, otherwise it will not be worth the loss. Chapter 110 Murinzu's Rapid Evolution. The large-scale transfer of thousands of people must be done very carefully, otherwise if one link goes wrong, it is very likely to cause large-scale losses. Especially if there is an outbreak of zombies or an attack by evolved zombies on the way. In such a situation, not only will people be scattered, but they will also be infected. Therefore, the plan to transfer Chen Xianlong and others from Jiangnan City must be considered in detail. Okay, let's help move the supplies. Lin Fan smiled faintly and said, the supplies stored in this factory are very sufficient. It will probably take a long time for them to move them alone. It will be much faster if we join in. Then, Lin Fan and others also joined the work of moving supplies. When moving, Wang Jianwei deliberately walked closer to Ding Ruaya and helped Ding Ruaya from time to time. Zhang Yuanzhang came to Lin Fan with 2 boxes of things and walked towards the truck with Lin Fan. Look over there. Zhang Yuanzhang glanced in the direction of Wang Jianwei. Lin Fan looked in the direction he was looking and saw Wang Jianwei helping Ding Ruaya pack small boxes. He asked, is Jianwei interested in Ding Ruaya? Haha, yes. When we went to lure the zombies, he told me that he wanted to chase Ding Ruaya. Zhang Yuanzhang smiled. That's totally possible, Lin Fan nodded. It depends on what Ding Ruaya thinks of him. Anyway, I encouraged him to chase her. Zhang Yuanzhang smiled again. While the two of them were talking, Wang Jianwei secretly glanced around. After making sure that no one else around could hear the conversation between him and Ding Ruaya, he said, Ding Ruaya, I have something to tell you. Ah. What is it? Ding Ruaya was slightly stunned and looked at Wang Jianwei with a puzzled look on her pretty face. Wang Jianwei took a deep breath and summoned up his courage to say, I like you. Can you be my girlfriend? Or I can be your boyfriend. Ding Ruaya's face flushed. She clasped her hands together and said nervously, You? Are you kidding? No, I'm serious. Wang Jianwei's expression was as serious as it could be. When did you start to like me? Ding Ruaya asked with a red face. The first day, Wang Jianwei still looked serious. Although we haven't known each other for a long time, feelings are not measured by the length of time. This is a bit sudden. Can I think about it? Ding Ruaya was very shy. Yes, Wang Jianwei nodded quickly. If he was not rejected directly, didn't it mean that he still had a chance? Let's move the things first. Ding Ruaya's face was as red as an apple, and she quickly changed the subject. Okay, I'll help you. Wang Jianwei nodded happily. On the other side, Murinzu and Murinshan were moving things together. Murinshan took a look at the materials piled in the room and suddenly saw some backpacks in the corner. Sister, look at those bags, are they the ones that were taken away from us before? Murinshan pointed and asked. It seems so, Murinzu stared at them. The backpacks that were taken away by Zhang Danian and others before were taken back and put in the room after Zhang Danian and others confiscated them, and they were not opened and looked at. The two sisters hurried over and opened the backpacks, and found that these backpacks were indeed the ones they brought. Sister, this one is still in there. Murin Shen also opened a backpack, and then took out a condom from it and shook it in front of Murinzu. Little girl, you deserve a beating now, right? Murinzu glared at Murin Shen unhappily. I can't beat you. Murin Shen stuck out her tongue, but asked curiously, Sister, then when will you and brother Lin Fan confirm your relationship? The longer Murin Shen knew Lin Fan, the more she felt that Lin Fan was very reliable, and she really didn't object to Lin Fan being her brother-in-law. Children, don't ask these questions. Murinzu didn't want to answer Murin Shen's question. However, she did have some expectations for this matter in her heart. Hearing Murongsu calling her a child, Murongshan pouted and prepared to refute. But before Murongshan could refute, Lin Fan walked to the door of the room. The only things left to move are the things in this room. Brother Lin Fan. Murongshan turned back subconsciously and called out. She forgot that she was still holding a condom in her hand, and when she greeted Lin Fan, she waved her hand. Lin Fan naturally didn't recognize at a glance that Murongshan was holding a condom, and couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Fortunately, Murongshan reacted quickly and quickly snatched the condom from Murongshan and stuffed it back into her backpack. Murongshan blushed and realized that she had done something embarrassing. But she was quirky and had a lot of ideas. She rolled her eyes, stood up and said, Brother Lin Fan, you came at the right time. My sister has something to tell you. You guys talk slowly. I'll go out first. As she said that, she ran out of the room in a flash, and Murongshan couldn't stop her. Lin Fan shook his head helplessly, then walked to Murinzu and asked with a smile, What's the matter? Murinzu was startled. Did she say you had something to tell me? Lin Fan looked out the door and could vaguely see Murin Shan's back. Xiao Shan was just joking. Murinzu shook her head and changed the subject to another matter, saying, By the way, I feel like my strength seems to have become stronger. Is it because I am evolving? Hearing this, Lin Fan quietly read Murinzu's data with a ring. Species, human level, level 1 strength. 6 speed. 6 reaction. 6 power, none. The speed of evolution is so fast. After seeing Murinzu's data information clearly, Lin Fan sighed slightly in his heart. He didn't expect Murinzu to evolve so fast. He naturally wouldn't tell Murinzu that he could see the specific data. He nodded naturally and said, Yes, after becoming an evolver, the body will evolve in a more powerful direction. I am now much stronger than before. This is also the effect of my own evolution. Do you think there are other ways to stimulate the body to evolve faster? Murinzu was a little curious about this question. I don't know, but this kind of thing must be related to talent. People with good evolutionary talent will evolve faster, and people with less good evolutionary talent will definitely not evolve as fast, Lin Fan said with a smile. He was able to accurately grasp Murinzu's data, and he was 100% sure that Murinzu's evolutionary talent was very good, not much worse than his, and might even be stronger than him. After all, his data mainly relied on the improvement of the pickup attribute, and the improvement of his own evolution only increased by 1 point, while Murinzu had already increased by 2 points through her own evolution. With such a comparison, who is stronger and who is weaker can be seen at a glance. Chapter 111, Transporting Supplies Back to the Island. Next, Wang Jianwei, Zhang Yuanzheng, the bearded man and others came to this room. Lin Fan and Murinzu did not say more about the problem of the evolvers. There was only one room of supplies left, so with so many people moving together, it was naturally quite fast. In less than 10 minutes, the whole room was emptied. However, Murinzu took out a backpack containing condoms and sanitary pads alone. She did not want these things to be discovered by others. Can you drive these trucks? Lin Fan looked at the bearded man and others and asked. Although the bearded man was beaten by Lin Fan, he did not bear a grudge, or rather, he did not have the courage to bear a grudge. He just carried the supplies with great pain, wanting to behave better, so that Lin Fan would not let him follow the team. Yes, one of them stood up and said, We can drive trucks. Okay, then you drive the trucks and follow, Lin Fan ordered. Okay, the bearded man and others nodded and quickly got into the trucks. The supplies here were loaded into a total of 8 large trucks, each with a load capacity of no less than 10 tons. It can be said that when Su Qinkang was in charge, he did a pretty good job, But unfortunately they had to provoke Lin Fan. Otherwise, they could still live freely in this factory. Let's go, let's get in the car. Lin Fan looked at Murenzhu and her group. Back in the RV, Zheng Yuanzhang was still driving, leaving the factory at a constant speed and driving towards the dock. The bearded man and others behind him drove a truck and followed closely. When they returned to the dock, Zhang Xianzhen and others also drove their own cars back here with oil. Brother Zhang, you guys got too much oil, didn't you? Wang Jianwei said in surprise. Haha, it's better to be prepared, Zhang Xianzhen laughed and said, there are so many supplies that it takes many trips to transport them with 3 ships. Prepare more oil to avoid wasting time later. That's right, Wang Jianwei nodded. There are no cargo ships at the dock here. They are all normal passenger ships, and the weight that can be transported each time is not too large. The materials in the factory plus the materials in the reserve warehouse, even if 3 ships come to transport, it is unknown how many times it will take, and the fuel consumption will naturally be quite high. Who are these people? Zhang Xianzhen quickly noticed the bearded man and others in the truck. They are the survivors who survived last night and are now following our team, Lin Fan said, and briefly explained the relocation plan of Chen Xianlong and others to Zhang Xianzhen. It was not until this time that Zhang Xianzhen knew that Lin Fan actually controlled a survivor base with so many people in Jiangnan City, which made him admire Lin Fan very much. Then, he added, Brother Lin, your plan is really good. There is enough power and water on the island. We just need to solve the food problem. Life will be much more convenient. The most important thing is that it is definitely safer on that island than outside. When the team continues to grow on the island can no longer accommodate them, it will not be too late to consider expanding outside. Lin Fan smiled and said, so, it is still necessary for these people to stay. They are needed to complete the current transportation work and development work on the island. While speaking, Lin Fan looked at the 3 ships. Brother Zhang, since the oil has been brought back, let's add oil to the ship now and start transporting supplies back to the island. Okay, Zhang Xianzhen nodded, then looked at the 2 teammates and ordered, we will each drive one of the 3 ships later. Yes, Captain, the 2 teammates responded. Zhang Xianzhen and the other 2 acted quickly and quickly added oil to the boat. Move things onto the boat, Lin Fan said to the bearded man and others. The bearded man and others also did not delay at all and moved things from the first truck first. What they didn't expect was that the 3 ships could carry just the same amount of supplies as the entire cargo on a truck. Just these 10 trucks have to be moved 10 times, plus the stuff in the storage warehouse. It will take several days to get it done, Zheng Yuanzhang said. Almost. After all, it takes a lot of time to transport it to the island each time, Lin Fan nodded. It's a pity that we don't know how to drive a boat. If we knew how to drive, we could save some time, Zheng Yuanzhang said. It's not easy to learn how to drive a boat. It's too late to learn it now. When you have free time later, you can master one more skill. Lin Fan smiled faintly, then looked at Zhang Xianzhen and said, Brother Zhang, you guys drive the boat to transport the supplies, and I'll stay here to drive here. Otherwise, when we transport the supplies, there's a risk that these things will be taken away by others. Then I'll stay here and take care of it together, Murenzhu said. Okay, Lin Fan didn't refuse. Murenzhu's current strength is already very good, and staying here can also be taken care of. Murenzhan wanted to stay, but she gave up the idea when she thought that she should give Lin Fan and Murenzhu a chance to be alone. Lin Xiaoxiao and the others were also smart people, and they knew that they shouldn't stay at this time. As for Wang Jianwei, Ding Ruao were going back to the island, so he had to go back with them. In this way, the team was divided into 2 groups. One group was Lin Fan and Murenzhu, who stayed at the dock to guard the remaining supplies, and the other group was Zhang Xianzhen and others who drove the ships to transport the supplies back to the island. The 3 ships quickly sailed from the dock on the sea, and soon disappeared from the side of Lin Fan and Murenzhu. While they are transporting supplies, we will use this time to verify whether fighting will speed up the evolution. Lin Fan retracted his gaze and looked at Murenzhu and said. Although he had such a guess before, he really hadn't come to a real conclusion. Moreover, fighting with Murenzhu could also improve Murenzhu's actual combat experience from the side, which would be 100 benefits for Murenzhu. Okay, after Murenzhu became an evolver, she seemed to have a warlike spirit in her body. Anything related to fighting could make her blood boil. Bang! As soon as she finished speaking, Murenzhu took action. She took a step and rushed to Lin Fan in an instant. She clenched her fair jade hands and attacked Lin Fan. The seemingly light punch contained a strong force. Murinzu's current data has reached 6. Facing her attack, Lin Fan would naturally not be careless. He retained some strength and immediately fought fiercely. During the battle, Lin Fan also deliberately let Murinzu attack him. Because he wanted to test how strong his ability to resist attacks was after the defense data became 4. Facts have proved that this ability to resist attacks did not disappoint him at all. According to his speculation, the defense attribute data is 4, so to some extent, it can withstand attacks with a strength attribute data of 4. Chapter 112 2 Days of Rest. Bang! Bang! The battle between Lin Fan and Murinzu became more and more intense. Murinzu has a strong learning ability and accumulates practical experience very quickly during the battle. Among the evolvers with various data of 6, Lin Fan dares to say that there are definitely only a handful of people who can defeat Murinzu without relying on any weapons and fighting alone. The two continued to fight until Zhang Xianjun and his team returned to the dock after transporting once. Zhang Xianjun docked the boat at the shore, got off the boat, walked to Lin Fan and Murinzu, and asked with a puzzled look. Just now when he was still on the sea, he saw the fight between Lin Fan and Murinzu. Haha, brother Zhang, we are practicing to improve our practical experience, Lin Fan said with a smile. So it's a practice. I was wondering why you two started fighting. Zhang Xianjun also smiled and said, Jian Wei and the others are sorting out the supplies over there, so we didn't let them come over. We'll continue to move the supplies back here. This way, we can save a lot of time by doing both at the same time. Well, then continue to move the supplies to the ship, Lin Fan nodded. The bearded man and others came with him. Their job is to move the supplies from here to the ship, and then move the supplies off the ship after arriving at the island. With their efforts, it can indeed save a lot of time. Soon, the 3 ships were filled with supplies again. Zhang Xianjun and Lin Fan said hello and drove the 3 ships back to the island. The rest of the time was spent in this repetitive way. Lin Fan and Murongsu kept fighting, and Zhang Xianjun and others kept transporting supplies. Except for the zombies wandering over, no other figures were seen. Due to limited energy and physical strength, both Zhang Xianjun and the bearded man and others needed to rest and recover. Therefore, at night, they did not continue to transport supplies, and just arrived at the dock to rest. Murinzu had originally planned to talk to Lin Fan at night, but with the arrival of Zhang Xianjun and others, it was naturally not so convenient, so she could only find an empty truck to sleep in. She had fought with Lin Fan all day, and for her, the physical energy consumed was quite large, and she really needed to sleep to adjust her state. Lin Fan also found an empty truck to rest in. One night passed quickly. The next morning, as soon as it was light, Zhang Xianjun and others got up and re-entered the transportation work. Lin Fan and Murinzu also started a new day of fighting. In the afternoon, Zhang Xianjun and others returned to the dock from the island. Finally, there is only 1 truck of supplies left. Zhang Xianjun looked at the 9 empty trucks and smiled with some sighs. After moving this truck of supplies, rest for 2 days, and then start moving the rice in the reserve warehouse, Lin Fan said. After all, that place is relatively hidden and not easy to be discovered. There is no big problem if we go 2 days later. Then you want to go back to the island with us now? Zhang Xianjun asked. Well, I'll go back and see how to develop the island, Lin Fan nodded. Captain, we have moved all the supplies from that cart to the boat, a teammate came over to report. Okay, Zhang Xianjun nodded. Let's go, brother Zhang, since everything has been moved, it's time for us to return to the island, Lin Fan said. Everyone quickly returned to the boat, and Lin Fan and Murongsu were in front of the boat driven by Zhang Xianjun. By the way, brother Lin, there is something I forgot to tell you, Zhang Xianjun suddenly said. Brother Zhang, what is it? Lin Fan looked at Zhang Xianjun in confusion. Murongsu was also a little curious. It should not be a simple matter for Zhang Xianjun to say so. It was yesterday, when we were transporting supplies, we encountered an attack at sea, Zhang Xianjun pondered. Attack? Was it a sea creature transformed from corpses? Lin Fan asked. The zombie turtle they encountered on the island before was exactly this type. I don't know if it is true or not, I didn't see it clearly, but I guess it is not infected, because if it is infected and becomes a zombie, it will definitely follow the sound and chase us, Zhang Xianjun analyzed. Our ship is not traveling very fast, so they should be able to keep up, but after the attack, They did not continue to follow. I heard you say before that you can extract mutagenic factors from evolved organisms to make normal people evolvers. I wonder if we can start from the sea if possible. While protecting ourselves, we will start to find evolved organisms, and then extract mutagenic factors from them, so that more evolvers will appear in our team. Now for Zhang Xianjun, he has long recognized Lin Fan's strength and regarded Lin Fan as the leader of the entire team. Then he naturally hopes to see the development and growth of the team. Only in this way can they survive better in the doomsday, and even gradually eliminate zombies and restore normal human life. This is what he has always expected in his heart. After all, the strength of evolvers is much stronger than that of ordinary people, and they can continue to evolve and improve. Once the number of evolvers in the team continues to increase, the overall strength of the team will be multiplied. At that time, the speed of eliminating zombies will be extremely fast. Hearing what Zhang Xianjun said, Lin Fan pondered for a moment and said, "Brother Zhang, I have actually thought about the matter you mentioned when I met the zombie turtle that day, but the main problem is that if we go to the sea, the danger is really great. Let's not talk about some large creatures in the sea. Let's say we encounter evolved creatures in the sea. We can only extract mutagenic factors when they are alive. They have a huge advantage in the sea. If we want to catch them alive, it is really too difficult." Lin Fan naturally wants more evolvers to appear in the team. At least Wang Jianwei, Zheng Yuanzheng and others must become evolvers. But we must consider the consequences of everything. His rebirth is a hard-won opportunity and he cannot waste this opportunity. Hearing this, Zhang Xianjun nodded solemnly and said, "Brother Lin, you are right. I was too one-sided just now and didn't think clearly about such a serious difficulty. It's okay, Brother Zhang. I will definitely consider the collection of mutagenic factors, but for now we should finish the things on the island first, one by one, and don't rush for success." Lin Fan smiled faintly. Zhang Xianjun nodded again. A few hours later, the three ships approached the shore of the island together. After the ship stopped steadily, Zhang Xianjun said, "Get all the supplies down. Don't pile them here this time. Move them directly to the base. Rest for 2 days first. After 2 days, we will move the supplies again." Chapter 113 Searching for Materials. The bearded man and others were responsible for transporting the supplies. After Lin Fan and his companions got off the boat, they returned to the base first. Wang Jianwei and his companions were sorting out the supplies. When Lin Xiaoxiao saw Lin Fan coming back, she walked up to him and said, "Brother, I want to tell you something." Lin Fan noticed that when Lin Xiaoxiao said this, she looked at Wang Jianwei and Ding Ruaya, and smiled faintly. "Are you going to tell me that Jianwei and Ding Ruaya are together? How did you know?" Lin Xiaoxiao's eyes widened. "I guessed." Lin Fan smiled. "This guy is quite fast. He got her in just 1 day." Ding Ruaya thinks that Brother Jianwei is a good person, so she decided to try dating for a while. "I hope they can always be good together," Lin Xiaoxiao said. "Well, Jianwei is really good." Lin Fan nodded. "He is the one who knows Wang Jianwei best among the people here, and knows what kind of person Wang Jianwei is." Lin Fan, Professor Mu and Professor Zhou want you to come over. At this time, Zhang Xintong came to Lin Fan and said. Lin Fan nodded, said something to Lin Xiaoxiao, and then walked towards Mu Guoxian and Professor Zhou. Mu Guoxian and Professor Zhou were mainly responsible for research and production of bullets. With them here, they could ensure that the work here was carried out in an orderly manner. Professor Mu, Professor Zhou, Lin Fan walked up to Mu Guoxian and Professor Zhou and greeted them. "Little friend Lin, come and take a look," Mu Guoxian said as he pointed to a pile of materials next to him. Lin Fan looked over and said, "What are these?" "They are all materials for making bullets," Mu Guoxian said slowly. "There are only so many materials left now. If we continue to produce bullets, we must have more materials." "Professor Mu, where can we usually find these materials for producing bullets?" Lin Fan asked. "They are available in places where copper is produced," Mu Guoxian replied. "Okay, after their rest for the next 2 days, when they go out to move things, I will go out with them to look for materials. We must produce more bullets and keep them there. We will produce as many as we can," Lin Fan said in a deep voice. Especially since they had to go back to Jiangnan City to inform Chen Xianlong and others to move, if there were enough bullets during the move, it would also provide better security. Mu Guoxian nodded. Without materials, they could not produce bullets, so the material issue had to be resolved. In the next 2 days, Mu Guoxian and Professor Zhou were still conducting scientific research and production, while Zhang Xianjun and others sorted out the materials they had brought back from the factory. As for Lin Fan, he observed the entire island and worked out a detailed plan for developing the island. At the same time, in his spare time, he still fought against Murenzhou. Although it was not certain whether such a battle could speed up the evolution, Murenzhou's actual combat experience was increasing quite fast. It can be said without hesitation that Murenzhou's actual combat experience was no worse than Zhang Xianjun's. At noon, the sun was shining brightly. Lin Fan and others gathered on the shore again. Xiao Fan, how long will it take you to go out and look for materials this time? Wang Jianwei asked. I don't know, but we must find the materials before we come back. During our absence, you will be responsible for placing the rice shipped back from the warehouse, and then develop the island according to the plan, Lin Fan said. He originally planned to go alone to find materials, but Murenzhou said to go with him. Then, Murenshan also wanted to go with him, because she wanted to improve her ability to deal with zombies. Murenzhou and Murenshan are both evolvers, with certain strength, so there is no problem with taking them together. Most importantly, he also wanted to see when Murenshan's ability would evolve. As for Zhang Xianjun and the other two, since they were responsible for driving the boat, they certainly couldn't go with them to find materials. Don't worry, we will do everything here, Wang Jianwei smiled lightly. Lin Fan glanced at Ling Ruai and whispered, you feel happy about everything now, right? Wang Jianwei couldn't fail to notice the direction of Lin Fan's eyes. He smiled and said, keep a low profile. Lin Fan reached out and patted Wang Jianwei on the shoulder, and didn't say anything more. After Zhang Xianjun and the other two started the boat, everyone quickly boarded the boat and sailed away from the island. The work of moving the rice in the warehouse is still done by Zhang Xianjun and his two companions and the bearded man. Wang Jianwei and Ding Ruai don't need to follow them, just stay on the island and wait for them to transport it back. When the ship docked at the pier, Lin Fan and others got off the ship one after another. Brother Zhang, the transportation is left to you. Lin Fan looked at Zhang Xianjun and said. Don't worry, Zhang Xianjun nodded, his eyes swept over Lin Fan and the other two. You three should also pay attention to safety when you go out to find materials. Yes, we will pay attention. After Lin Fan finished speaking, he took Murenzhou and Murenshan back to the RV, started the RV and left here. We will also get in the car and transport 5 trucks at a time, Zhang Xianjun ordered. The large trucks that were left here before were just for them to use to move the rice in the warehouse. According to the experience of transporting factory materials, 5 trucks of materials can basically be transferred to the island within 1 day. If 10 trucks are filled up together, someone must be left here to look after them at night, which is not a wise decision. In the RV, Murenshan looked outside, then turned her gaze back to Lin Fan and asked, Brother Lin Fan, where can we find materials for bullets? Professor Mu said that it can be found in any place where copper is produced. Lin Fan smiled. Isn't this range too wide? Murenshan frowned her beautiful eyebrows. This city is so big, how long will it take us to find it? Don't worry, this time we come out, looking for materials is one aspect, and on the other hand, we can see if we can encounter evolved animals. If we can, it means that we can extract mutagenic factors, and then the number of evolved people in the team will increase again, Lin Fan replied. Places where copper is produced are generally not in the city center. Let's look for it along the edge of the city first, Murenzhou said. I think so too, Lin Fan nodded slightly. The three of them didn't notice that not far behind the RV, there was a German shepherd following the RV. Moreover, this German shepherd was the one they had encountered before, and it actually followed here from Shuiyang City. In another direction, 4 people were sitting in a Mercedes-Benz G, driving fast on the road, bringing a harsh engine roar. The weapons forged by Old Man Wang are really useful, one person exclaimed. That's nothing. Old Man Wang asked us to come out and find materials so he could forge them again. The weapons forged at that time were truly powerful. Although they can't be said to be able to cut iron like mud, they can definitely cut through iron pipes without any problem. Another person narrowed his eyes and continued. Chapter 114 Donghu Copper Factory. You should know that Old Wang has been forging weapons for 50 years, but his strength was not highlighted in the past peacetime. The driver had a square face and a bit of sharpness between his eyebrows. He turned the car to another road and said, now that the doomsday has broken out, Old Wang's value is truly reflected. After we bring back the materials and he reforges them, our strength will be greatly improved. Haha, that's inevitable. I prefer axes, so I have to ask Old Wang to help me make an axe, the fourth person said. The Old Wang they were talking about had a special skill in forging weapons. The weapons forged by him, even an ordinary kitchen knife, are several times sharper than those purchased outside. This is not only a problem of forging materials, but his forging technology is indeed superb. In the Doomsday, having a good weapon is undoubtedly helpful for improving combat effectiveness. The simplest example is that some people who are not strong enough can easily cause the knife or axe to get stuck in the zombie body when they chop zombies with a knife or an axe. In this case, if the zombies are not killed, people will fall into a dangerous situation. If the knife or axe is very sharp, then even if it does not hit the zombie's head, it can still split the zombie's body with its sharpness, so that it will not get stuck inside. The four of them knew the Old Man Wang before the apocalypse, but there is a rule for asking the Old Man Wang to forge weapons, that is, you must bring double the materials. Forging weapons consumes part of the materials, and the remaining part is regarded as the reward for forging. Boom! The square-faced man stepped on the accelerator to the bottom, the speed soared, and rushed on the road, rushing towards the destination where they were going to get the materials. Bang! Bang! Lin Fan drove the car and knocked away several zombies in front of him, and soon came to a three-way intersection. He stepped on the brakes, slowed down the car, and looked at the road signs outside. Lin Fan, the road on the left leads to the industrial park. I think we can go to the industrial park to see if there is a place where copper is produced there. Murenzhu also saw the road sign. Lin Fan nodded. As the name implies, industrial parks are areas where factories are concentrated. Although there is no guarantee that there are 100% copper-producing factories, it is better than wandering around like a headless fly. Turning the steering wheel to the left, Lin Fan drove the RV to the road on the left, stepped on the accelerator, and increased the speed again. The industrial park is very large. The road outside alone is 10 kilometers long. On both sides of this road, there are all kinds of factories. Food factories, toy factories, mooncake factories, clothing factories, etc. There are still many zombies wandering in these factories. If there is a shortage of supplies, then you can search in those food factories. But now Lin Fan and others are not short of supplies at all, so there is no need to waste time. After the RV drove 6 or 7 kilometers on this road, Lin Fan and the other two did not see any copper-producing factories. Is there no copper factory in this industrial park at all? Muren Shan said helplessly. Whether there is one or not, we are here and we must walk through this area. Lin Fan smiled. Xiao Shan, you are too impatient, aren't you? Murenzu glared at Muren Shan. Donghu Copper Factory. When Murenzu finished speaking, Lin Fan glanced and saw the name of a factory not far ahead. A smile appeared on his face and he said, hasn't that what we found? Really? Muren Shan said in surprise. In this copper factory, we should be able to find enough materials. A smile flashed in Murenzu's beautiful eyes. Such a large factory, I guess we won't be disappointed. Lin Fan smiled faintly, turned again, and turned towards the gate of Donghu Copper Factory. Before the Doomsday, Donghu Copper Factory had a total of thousands of employees, which was a real big factory in this industrial park. When the Doomsday broke out, it was working hours, and many employees turned into zombies at the first time, and then infected other employees. With this back and forth infection, almost all employees became zombies before they had time to escape from the factory. When the zombie tide broke out later, more zombies gathered here. When the RV drove to the gate of Donghu Copper Factory, Murenzu saw the zombies wandering around inside, and couldn't help but turn her head to look at Lin Fan and asked, should we kill these zombies directly or lure them out? To lure these zombies away, we need to create a movement, but that will attract more zombies. Although we can lure all the zombies out of the industrial park, it will take more time. Lin Fan looked at Muren Shan through the rearview mirror and said, didn't you want to deal with zombies before? Now the opportunity is right in front of us, just use these zombies to continue practicing. Okay. I'll kill them all. Muren Shan nodded excitedly. There are quite a few zombies here. Isn't it too dangerous for Xiao Shan to deal with them alone? Murenzu looked worried. Of course, she won't deal with it alone. We have to join in. What's more, there's a high possibility that there are evolved zombies among these zombies. It's better to be careful, Lin Fan said. Murenzu was relieved now. She thought Lin Fan asked Muren Shan to deal with it alone. With the arrangement, Lin Fan drove the car into the Donghu copper factory without delay. He crushed the zombies surrounding the gate, then drove the car forward for a distance and stopped in a blank area next to a moving building. Roar. Although there were no zombies in the parking area, the sound of their car had attracted the attention of the zombies, and a large group of zombies were approaching them. Let's go, get out of the car and kill the zombies. Lin Fan waved his hand and took the axe in his hand. Murinzu and Murin Shen also took a long knife each. The three of them got out of the car, and Murin Shen rushed up impatiently. Click, click. Murin Shen swung the long knife in her hand and chopped the heads of two zombies continuously. When she fought zombies at the dock before, she had accumulated some experience and knew that she couldn't be careless when dealing with zombies. So now, she kept an eye on the surrounding situation at all times to prevent zombies from attacking her. Don't worry too much, she can basically handle these. Lin Fan glanced at Murinzu, and could see the worry in her expression, so he couldn't help but smile and comfort her. After hearing Lin Fan's comfort, Murinzu didn't think any more, and moved her body, followed Lin Fan into the zombie group, and began to punish the zombies one-sidedly. These zombies in front of the two of them were like adults facing children. Unless the adults deliberately made mistakes and gave in, the children had no chance of turning defeat into victory. Chapter 115. What is the purpose? Zombies kept falling to the ground, and the stench of decay filled the air. The zombies in other areas of the factory were constantly attracted by the movement here, and rushed towards Lin Fan and the other two. Roar. A somewhat harsh zombie roar spread. Lin Fan frowned slightly and looked in the direction of the roar. He saw zombie rushing towards Murin Shen at a faster speed than ordinary zombies. Evolved zombie. Lin Fan quickly made a clear judgment. The zombie could have such a fast speed, which was obviously not something that ordinary zombies could do. He immediately opened the ring to read the zombie's data. Species, zombie level, level 1 strength. 5 speed. 5 reaction. 5. The light screen information clearly appeared in front of Lin Fan. I'll deal with it. After hearing Lin Fan's voice, Murinzu quickly responded and moved closer to Murin Shen. She was not confident that Murin Shen could deal with the evolved zombie alone. Lin Fan didn't have to worry about Murinzu's current strength. Putting aside the improvement of practical experience, Murinzu's various data reached 6, so it was no problem to kill the evolved zombie. Before the evolved zombie attacked Murin Shen, Murinzu had already rushed to the front of the evolved zombie and blocked it. One person and one corpse, fighting together in a blink of an eye. As expected by Lin Fan, Murinzu's strength was indeed no problem to deal with the evolved zombie. In less than 3 minutes, the evolved zombie was killed by Murinzu's knife on the head. Sister, you are so powerful, Murin Shen couldn't help but praise. Don't be distracted, deal with the zombie well, Murinzu warned. Got it, Murin Shen nodded obediently. Crack. Crack. The zombies' heads were split open one after another, and the black rotten blood had dyed the ground red. In addition to the evolved zombie just now, 2 more came behind. However, the data of those 2 were only 4. When Lin Fan was about to go up to fight one, Murinzu said that she could handle it alone. So, Murinzu fought 2 evolved zombies alone. The result was still no surprise. Both evolved zombies were killed by her one after another. After more than 10 minutes, more than 1,000 zombies in Donghu Copper Factory had been killed by them. Brother Lin Fan, how was my performance just now? Murin Shen wiped the sweat from her forehead with her hand, looked at Lin Fan with a smile and asked. Very good. Lin Fan gave Murin Shen a thumbs up and said, you have improved a lot compared to when you were at the dock before. Murin Shen smiled happily. After all, she was a little girl in her teens. There was no reason for her not to be happy to hear such praise. Let's go into the factory and take a look. If there are a lot of materials here, then remember the location. When the time comes, wait until they finish moving the rice in the warehouse, and then let them come to move the materials, Lin Fan said. Although the area of this RV is not small, it certainly cannot hold much of such materials, and it still needs to be loaded with a large truck. The 3 of them walked towards the door of one of the buildings. Just when they arrived at the door and were about to enter, they heard the sound of a car rushing outside the factory. There are people outside. Murin Shen blinked. Such a loud noise. Are you trying to attract zombies to follow the car? The sound is approaching us. Maybe it is also coming to this factory? Lin Fan's eyes flashed slightly. Come here. Murin Shen felt a little incredible. As soon as she finished speaking, The sound of the car outside really approached, and when it was about to reach the gate of Donghu Copper Factory, it stepped on the emergency brake. Swish! The tires rubbed against the ground, making a harsh sound. Then, the car drove straight into the gate. A Mercedes-Benz G suddenly appeared in the side of Lin Fan and the others. The people in the Mercedes-Benz G naturally noticed Lin Fan and the others, and soon stopped in front of the building, opened the car doors and walked out of the car. "Did you kill all these zombies?" The square-faced man saw the corpses of zombies scattered on the ground, which were obviously the zombies that had just been killed. And now there were only Lin Fan and the other two here, so naturally he immediately suspected Lin Fan and the other two. Of course, the four of them were attracted by the looks of Murengzhu and Murengshan, and they didn't expect to meet such beautiful women. "Before you came, these zombies were just solved by us," Lin Fan said in a calm tone. While speaking, he also used the ring to read the information of the square-faced man and others. From the moment the four of them got off the car, he knew that they were not ordinary people, but evolvers. Not surprisingly, the four square-faced people were indeed evolvers, and their data was not bad. The strongest one was the square-faced man, and all the data had reached 7. As for the other 3, 2 of them had all the data reached 6, one of them had a strength of 5, and speed and reaction were both 6. In short, the strength of these 4 people is not simple. Lin Fan's answer surprised the remaining 3 people. Being able to kill so many zombies is definitely not something that ordinary people can do. The square-faced man nodded and said, "You didn't come here just to kill zombies, did you?" "Of course not to kill zombies," Lin Fan smiled faintly and said, "however, it seems that we came here first. Even if we ask the purpose, shouldn't you answer first?" The square-faced man was a little surprised by Lin Fan's indifferent attitude, but this also made him more convinced that Lin Fan was a capable person, otherwise he wouldn't be so confident when he spoke. After all, there were 4 grown men standing here, and there were 2 women standing next to Lin Fan, but Lin Fan and the other 2 were not afraid of them at all. There was no way, with Lin Fan by their side, Murengzhu and Murengshan would not be afraid. Lin Fan was their biggest support, the most reliable backer. Roar! Before the square-faced man could speak, the roar of the zombies came from behind. "You made such a big noise just now, attracting all the zombies. You should deal with these zombies," Murengshan stood up and said. The square-faced man smiled and looked at the 3 people standing behind him, nodding and saying, "Go and get rid of those zombies." Without any hesitation, the 3 people took out their weapons from the car, turned around and walked towards the gate, and began to deal with the zombies pouring in. The square-faced man did not turn back to pay attention to the battle situation of the 3 people, and had absolute confidence in them. He took a step forward, continued to look at Lin Fan, and said, "We came here to get some materials. Now, can you tell me the purpose of your coming here?" "You are here to get materials too," Murengzhu frowned slightly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116, Accepting Defeat. Also, the square-faced man looked slightly dazed. "So, you are here for the materials?" "Yes," Lin Fan said calmly, "we want the materials here, please go back." The square-faced man's eyes flickered, and he said in a low voice, "As far as I know, there are quite a lot of materials in this factory. You want to occupy them all? Your appetite is too big." "Sorry, our appetite is so big." Lin Fan's tone was still indifferent. Although the data of these 4 people are good, they are not their opponents. If a war really breaks out, he is not worried about anything. Lin Fan's words made the square-faced man's face suddenly gloomy. They came here to take the materials back to find Old Wang to forge better weapons. If they return empty-handed, they will not be ashamed to face Old Wang. After all, they know very well that the materials that Old Wang wants can only be found in Donghu Copper Factory in the city. "Brother Su, why are you talking to them so much?" After killing the zombies, the 3 men walked back to the square-faced man. One of them looked at Lin Fan and the other 2 and sneered, "You want to take all the materials here, but you don't even know how much you have. You are so shameless." The zombies that followed just now were all ordinary zombies. It was not a problem for the 3 evolvers to deal with a group of ordinary zombies. In the process of dealing with the zombies, They all heard the conversation between the square-faced man and Lin Fan and the other two clearly. Boy, don't think that you are so powerful just because you killed the zombies here. Be smart and leave quickly, maybe you can suffer less physical pain, another person mocked. They also saw that Lin Fan and the other two were not simple, but they had the advantage in numbers and didn't need to be afraid. The square-faced man did not make an impulsive decision. From Lin Fan's eyes, he could always detect a very special momentum. This momentum, if you really want to describe it, seems to have a sense of winning. Since we all want the materials here, why not decide by strength? The side with the stronger strength will get the materials here, Su Guanyu said in a deep voice. The other three were obviously a little surprised by Su Guanyu's decision. They didn't understand why Su Guanyu didn't just forcefully take down Lin Fan and the other two. But Su Guanyu was their leader, and they had to follow Su Guanyu's arrangements. Do you want us to fight one-on-one or what? Lin Fan raised his lips. Yes, just the two of us, one-on-one. If I win, you leave here, and if you win, we leave here, Su Guanyu nodded. Satisfied you, Lin Fan threw the axe in his hand on the ground and walked forward. Su Guanyu also put the machete in his hand back into the car, staring at Lin Fan. Go ahead. Lin Fan took a step and rushed to Su Guanyu quickly. He clenched his fists and punched out. With a fast speed, the other three saw how fast Lin Fan moved and punched, and a look of surprise appeared on their faces. Su Guanyu was also very surprised. He didn't expect Lin Fan's speed to be so fast. Under such a fast attack, he had no time to dodge and could only punch forward. Bang! The fists of the two men collided fiercely, and a dull sound spread out. The muscles on Su Guanyu's face twitched slightly at the moment of collision. He had a real feeling that his fist hit something harder. On the other hand, Lin Fan's expression did not change at all. Because his defensive attribute made his body much tougher, and coupled with the interaction of forces, it was obvious that Su Guanyu was more hurt. Bang! Lin Fan's arm shook, and another force burst out along his arm. Su Guanyu's face changed, and his body could not help but step back a few steps. Brother Su, the other three were shocked. How could they not be surprised that Su Guanyu was at a disadvantage after just one encounter? Lin Fan did not intend to give Su Guanyu a chance to ease up. While Su Guanyu's body retreated, he continued to rush forward, his whole body leaped up, and kicked out in the air. As soon as Su Guanyu stabilized his body, he saw Lin Fan attacking again. He did not dare to hesitate for a moment and crossed his hands in front of him to resist Lin Fan's attack. Bang! Lin Fan kicked Su Guanyu's crossed arms with his feet. With a muffled sound, Su Guanyu's body flew backwards. After drawing a parabolic arc in the air, he fell heavily back to the ground. Boy! Are you looking for death? Seeing Su Guanyu defeated, the man in the vest held a machete in his hand, shouted, and slashed at Lin Fan fiercely. Be careful, Murinzu and Murinshan saw the scene and hurriedly warned. They did not expect the other party to be so shameless to launch a sneak attack. Lin Fan's reaction speed is unquestionable. Noticing the movement behind him, he bent down, looked back, raised his foot and kicked out, kicking the knife in the vest man's hand. Ling! A crisp and loud sound came out from the knife. Lin Fan's kick was powerful enough that the man in the vest couldn't hold the knife. The knife flew out of his hand and bounced off the wall. Bang! Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lin Fan turned around and quickly approached the man in the vest. He punched the man in the abdomen. The man screamed and lay on the ground, holding his stomach and sweating. Go! The other two evolvers looked at each other, grabbed their weapons, and planned to attack Lin Fan together. Stop! Su Guanyu stood up and shouted to stop them. He had just been knocked out, and the man in the vest's attack was very sudden. He wanted to stop it too late, but now he had calmed down and naturally wanted to stop the other two. Hearing Su Guanyu's shouting, the two wanted to attack Lin Fan, but they had to calm down at this time. Su Guanyu looked at Lin Fan and said, "You are stronger than us. We are not your opponent. We are willing to accept the loss. We leave here and all the materials here belong to you, Brother Su." The two were stunned. Shut up, Su Guanyu glared at them and said, "Be a real man, since it's a bet, then if you lose, you lose." On the one hand, Su Guanyu was indeed a man. On the other hand, after he and Lin Fan really fought, he realized how strong Lin Fan was. It can be said without hesitation that the four of them may not be Lin Fan's opponent, not to mention that Murinzu and Murinshan are eyeing them covetously. In such a situation where the strength is so unequal, If they still insist on fighting, then there is no doubt that they will suffer the most in the end. Therefore, accepting the result of losing is the wisest decision. Chapter 117, Pretty Kind. Let's go. Su Guanai looked at Lin Fan deeply and waved to the three men in vests. The painful expression on the man's face had not yet dissipated. No matter how unwilling he was, he had to obey Su Guanai's orders. He stood up from the ground and was about to walk over to pick up the knife that fell on the ground. However, at this time, Lin Fan said, "Wait, what?" Su Guanai frowned slightly. The man in vest also stopped. Lin Fan walked towards the knife on the ground, bent down to pick it up, and took it in his hand to look at it carefully. He found that the quality of this knife was very good. He kicked it up with such great force, and the knife flew out and hit the wall again, but it didn't break, just a little deformed. No matter how you look at it, it's a bit incredible. You know, if it was an ordinary knife, it would be kicked so hard and hit the wall, even if it didn't break, it would be deformed very seriously. That's my knife, do you want to take it away from me? The man in the vest saw that Lin Fan was staring at the knife very seriously, and he seemed to have no intention of returning the knife to him, so he couldn't help expressing his dissatisfaction. Lin Fan did not answer the man in the vest's question, but asked, "Where did you get this knife?" "Why should I tell you?" The man in the vest took a deep breath. "Give me back the knife. You are not qualified to refuse to answer my questions now." Lin Fan's eyes condensed, and a hint of fierceness flashed across his eyes. Facing Lin Fan's eyes, the man in the vest always felt like he was being stared at by a tiger, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of fear in his heart. Su Guanai frowned and said, "We have already admitted defeat and are ready to leave here now. You don't have to be so aggressive, right? From now on, here, I have the final say. Whatever I ask, you must answer. Understand?" Lin Fan said without giving in. "You?" Su Guanai's face changed again. He didn't expect Lin Fan's attitude to be so tough. "What? Are you not convinced?" Lin Fan smiled slightly. "If you are not convinced, you can try again, but I can't guarantee how many bones you will break, nor can I guarantee that I will not accidentally kill you." Although he said this with a smile, this smile, no matter how Su Guanai and others looked at it, was like watching a devil laugh. If his strength allowed, Su Guanai really wanted to fight with Lin Fan. Unfortunately, his strength did not allow him to do so. At this time, it was like being under the eaves and having to bow his head. "What do you want to know?" Su Guanai took a deep breath and lowered his posture. "Where did you get this knife?" Lin Fan asked again, and then added, "By the way, I advise you not to lie to deceive me. My eyes can see whether your answer is a lie or not. If I find out, your end will be miserable." Su Guanai did have the idea of lying to deceive Lin Fan in his heart, but after hearing Lin Fan's emphasis, he instantly gave up the idea. If Lin Fan really found out that he was lying, then they would most likely be in life and death danger today. After all, judging from Lin Fan's attitude, he was not just trying to scare them. "I got it from someone," Su Guanai answered honestly. "Who? Be specific," Lin Fan asked again. "An old man, we call him Old Wang," Su Guanai said. "Is this the weapon he forged?" "Yes, Old Wang has been forging weapons for decades." Hearing Su Guanai's answer, Lin Fan stared at the knife in his hand again, and touched it with his hand, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. "So, you came here to find materials just to take the materials back and let him forge weapons for you?" Lin Fan shifted his gaze back to Su Guanai. "Yes," Su Guanai nodded. If they had not expressed their intention to get materials here before, Lin Fan would not have thought of this step, but they had already said that they were here to get materials, so the intention was easy to guess. "It doesn't take much materials to forge a weapon, right?" Lin Fan asked. "Yes, but Mr. Wang has a rule. If you want to forge a weapon with him, you must bring 2 materials. He will take 1 material as a reward, otherwise he will not forge it." Su Guanai nodded. Lin Fan smiled and threw the knife in his hand to the man in the vest. The man in the vest quickly reacted and reached out to grab the knife in his hand. "Can we leave?" Su Guanai asked tentatively. "Not yet," Lin Fan shook his head. Su Guanai was stunned. He had returned the knife to them, but he didn't let them leave. What exactly did he want to do? "What else do you want to ask?" Su Guanai suppressed his dissatisfaction and asked. "Don't say I didn't give you a chance. First find the forging materials in this factory, and then take us to find Mr. Wang. I also want the weapon he forged," Lin Fan said. In his previous life, He had the honor of seeing a powerful weapon owned by an evolver. That weapon, it can be said without hesitation, cuts iron like mud, especially when it collides with other people's weapons. It can basically destroy other people's weapons in the blink of an eye. Lin Fan had originally planned to go out and look for people who could forge weapons after transferring Chen Xianlong and others from Jiangnan City. Unexpectedly, he was lucky today and got news from Su Guanyu and others. Since he had received the news, there was no reason to miss it. He had to go and see that old man Wang. You mean, if we take you to see old man Wang, you can let us get some materials from here? Su Guanyu looked at Lin Fan in surprise. Not bad, Lin Fan nodded. Originally, I didn't have to give you materials, and you couldn't refuse to take us to see old man Wang, but I am a very kind person, so I decided to give you some benefits. Puff. As soon as Lin Fan finished speaking, Murin Shan laughed out loud behind him. For some reason, she always felt very funny when she heard Lin Fan say that he was a very kind person. Lin Fan looked back at Murin Shan and said, "Am I not kind, brother Lin Fan? You are the kindest. No one is kinder than you." Murin Shan chuckled. Murin Zhu couldn't help but smile beside him. Only Su Guanyu and the others couldn't laugh. There was nothing they could do. Who made them not as strong as Lin Fan now? Let's go. Let's go in and find the materials. After we find the materials, we will go to find Mr. Wang. Lin Fan retracted his gaze, glanced at Su Guanyu and the others, and turned around and walked into the gate first. Murin Zhu and Murin Shan followed closely behind him. Su Guanyu and the other three looked at each other, and without hesitation, they also followed in. Things have developed to this point. Of course, they can get some benefits. It is much better than returning empty-handed. Chapter 118 Leading the way to find someone. Only one material is needed to forge weapons, but several materials are needed to produce bullets. Therefore, Lin Fan brought Su Guanyu and others in. In addition to looking for weapon materials, they also had to observe whether there were materials for producing bullets here. Bullets require materials such as white copper, brass, copper-clad steel, nickel-plated steel, etc. Fortunately, these materials are all available in this factory. As for the materials for forging weapons, Su Guanyu and others already knew that they were here, so there was no problem. It's almost enough to take these over. Su Guanyu pointed to the pile of materials in front of him, which was about 200 or 300 pounds. Then take them out and put them in the car. Lin Fan nodded. Su Guanyu glanced at the other two people except the man in the vest and said, "Move it out." "Yes, brother Su," the two responded and moved quickly. "Did you drive here?" Su Guanyu asked. "Of course I drove here," Murin Shan replied. "Our car is much more upscale than yours." Su Guanyu was speechless, but he was thinking in his heart, it's the end of the world, so what if I drive a Rolls-Royce? How can there be any high-end or not? Our car is parked over there, you guys go wait in the car first, Lin Fan said and walked to the parking place with Murin Zhu and Murin Shan. When Su Guanyu and the other three put the materials into the trunk and got back into the car, the man in the vest said hurriedly, "Brother Su, are we really taking them to find old Wang?" "What do you mean?" Su Guanyu frowned. "I mean, they treat us like this, why should we take them to find old Wang to forge weapons and improve their strength?" A sinister light flashed in the man's eyes, and he said, "Why don't we leave now, or get rid of them when we drive on the road later?" "Yes, Brother Su, we can do this, we can't let them get away for nothing. I also think we shouldn't take them to find old Wang." The other two people expressed their opinions separately. "They have already started the car and are coming. It depends on the situation on the road. If we can get rid of them, then get rid of them. If we can't get rid of them, then there's nothing we can do." Su Guanyu heard the sound of the car starting and made a quick decision. It is impossible to say that he has no complaints about Lin Fan. But at present, he cannot judge whether Lin Fan's driving skills are good or not. However, he gave up this idea completely the moment he saw Lin Fan driving the RV. It was at this time that he understood why Murin Shan said that the car was high-end. Damn! What kind of car is this? It's too domineering, isn't it? It looks more powerful than a tank. Will you still worry about zombies when driving this car? The three men in vests had their eyes wide open at this time. They never thought that the car driven by Lin Fan and the other two would be so domineering. Transformed car, Su Guanyu swallowed quietly and said, "This car is so perfectly transformed. As long as there are no evolved zombies, those ordinary zombies are as crisp as tofu in front of this car." "Yes, This car can be said to be invulnerable, the man in vest exclaimed with shock. Fortunately, we didn't drive away just now, otherwise they would definitely catch up with us, and it would be a question whether we can survive at that time. Su Guanyu felt fortunate after realizing it, and he reminded, from now on, behave honestly. This group of people is definitely not that simple. There is probably a very strong team behind them. Just by looking at this car, Su Guanyu could tell that this was not something that could be transformed by a few people. Lead the way. Lin Fan drove the RV to the side of the G-Class and said to Su Guanyu. Okay, Su Guanyu nodded, and without further delay, he started the car, stepped on the accelerator, and walked in front to lead the way. Lin Fan was not worried at all that Su Guanyu and others would escape. The power of this RV has been specially modified. Even if Su Guanyu drove the Mercedes-Benz G-Class and stepped on the accelerator to the bottom, he could not be faster than the RV. After coming out of the factory, they soon left this industrial avenue and headed in another direction from the fork in the road. These guys didn't play any tricks. Murin Shan glanced at the G-Class leading the way in front and snorted softly. They know how serious the consequences of playing tricks are, so they naturally risk their lives to play tricks. Murin Zhu chuckled. They must have been scared by our car. Murin Shan chuckled. Lin Fan also smiled, and then changed the subject, saying, the strength of these four people is actually very good, especially the leader, whose strength is not much worse than Su Qinkang we met before. Is he so powerful? Murin Shan opened her mouth in surprise. I saw that you, brother Lin Fan, defeated him easily, and I thought he was a weakling. I almost thought I could beat him. Lin Fan can easily defeat him because Lin Fan is strong. How can this mean that others are weak? Murin Zhu glanced at Murin Shan unhappily and said, you can't just be vigilant against zombies, you have to be more vigilant against people. Okay, sister, I know, Murin Shan replied obediently. First, let's go with him to meet that old man Wang and see how good the weapons he forges can be. Then, I want to see if there is an organization behind these four people. If there is no organization, we can let them join our team, Lin Fan pondered. From the performance of the knife of the man in the vest, it can be seen that the forging of Old Man Wang is indeed of a certain level, but it is not enough to make him excited. What he wants to see more is how strong the best weapon forged by Old Man Wang is. Those four guys, maybe they are the people who helped that Old Man Wang, Murin Shan asked curiously. This possibility cannot be ruled out. Lin Fan smiled slightly. At this moment, he even had a bolder idea in his mind. That is, if possible, he should invite Old Man Wang to join his team. In this way, the weapons needed in the team will be solved. Mu Guishan and Professor Zhou are responsible for hot weapons, and Old Man Wang is responsible for cold weapons. There is no conflict between the two sides. The two cars have been driving on the road. The place where Old Man Wang lives is not on the city, but even in a county town far away from the city. Before the Doomsday, this county was a famous scenic county, and many people from all over the country came to visit it every year. Of course, Mr. Wang did not live in the center of the county, but in a villa on the edge of the county. This villa used to be a holiday villa. After the Doomsday, Mr. Wang moved here to forge weapons. Chapter 119 Rules Set by Others. Qingshu County. Two cars were driving on the road. The Mercedes-Benz G-Class driven by Su Guanyu would try to avoid zombies when encountering them, and rarely hit them directly. After all, this Mercedes-Benz G-Class has not been modified, which is prone to accidents. The RV driven by Lin Fan does not have these problems, and it crushes the zombies all the way. That car is really amazing. The man in the vest sat in the G-Class, always observing the situation of the RV behind him, with a look of emotion on his face. Even though he had many dissatisfactions with Lin Fan in his heart, he had to admit that the RV was amazing. We will also modify a car later, and it must be stronger than theirs, said another person. Su Guanyu shook his head and smiled, saying, it is not so easy to modify a car like this. You must have very strong skills. Do the four of us have such skills? The man opened his mouth, but was speechless for a moment, not knowing what to say. Brother Su, I am worried about a problem now, the man in the vest said. What problem? Su Guanyu glanced at the man in the vest. Do you think they will kill us all after getting the weapons from Old Man Wang? The man in the vest asked worriedly. Hearing this, the other two evolvers also showed a trace of worry on their faces. Su Guanyu pondered for a moment and said, don't let your imagination run wild. If they want to kill us, they will kill us at the very beginning. After all, at the very beginning, they didn't know the information about Old Man Wang. They only learned about it later. The most important thing is that there is no conflict of interest between us and them. These materials were given to us by them. It is not without reason that Su Guanyu can become the leader of this small team. He is always much more mature than the man in the vest and others in thinking about problems. That's right. Their strength can completely crush us. If they really want to kill us, they will start at the very beginning. The man in the vest nodded with relief. In short, you all have to remember that you can't have any conflicts with them anymore, including verbal conflicts. We do what we should do well, and they will definitely not be embarrassed, Su Guanyu reminded again. Okay, Brother Su, the three men in vests all nodded seriously. Although Qingshu County is just a county town, its area is not small at all. They did not pass through the center of the county town, but took the siege road. The number of zombies on the siege road was not large, and it did not cause much hindrance to them. An hour later, Su Guanyu slowed down the car, stretched his hand out of the window and made a gesture, and then stopped the car. Lin Fan drove to the side and parked it side by side, and said, "What's the matter? The area in front is currently under control. When we pass through, don't honk the horn to make noise. This is the rule they set. If we violate it, we will definitely be punished by them," Su Guanyu said with a serious face. "Are they very strong?" Lin Fan was a little curious. "Very strong," Su Guanyu nodded. "How strong is very strong? Is it as strong as Brother Lin Fan?" Murin Shen also asked curiously. "I really don't know, because I haven't seen the boss of this force, but I can't deal with his subordinates alone. They didn't get rid of us, which is considered to be the most benevolent, so we all abide by the rules here," Su Guanyu coughed dryly. "I'm not saying that you are weak, and I don't mean to look down on you, but this is the other party's territory. As the saying goes, a strong dragon doesn't suppress a local snake." Seeing Su Guanyu's awkward explanation, Lin Fan felt a little funny. This guy is very careful in doing things, for fear that they will break the rules and be implicated. "Don't worry, I know the reason why a strong dragon doesn't suppress a local snake. The purpose of our visit this time is mainly to find Old Wang to forge weapons, and we don't want to cause any other troubles," Lin Fan said lightly. "Well, okay, then let's continue on our way." After passing the area ahead, it won't take long to reach Old Wang. Su Guanyu breathed a sigh of relief. He was still worried that such a reminder would make Lin Fan unhappy. Now it seems that he thought too much. The two cars continued to drive on the road, and after leaving the ring road, they entered the area that Su Guanyu mentioned. Lin Fan noticed that there was no zombie here, and it was cleaned up very cleanly. Obviously, someone had deliberately cleaned it. The group of people he mentioned should be in that place, right? Murin Shan looked outside with her beautiful eyes, and quickly locked onto the rows of villas on the left. There was the villa area of Qingshu County. Before the doomsday, many wealthy people in the city ran here to buy villas, so that they could come here for leisure and vacation during holidays. After the doomsday, a group of forces grew rapidly and occupied the villa area, and expanded the scope and divided it into specific areas. People who pass by this area and do not abide by the rules they set are despising their existence, and will naturally receive the punishment they deserve. While driving, Lin Fan's eyes also looked at the villa area in the distance on the left from time to time. He really didn't think about provoking the other party. This is not a question of whether he is afraid of the other party, but he doesn't want to make trouble out of nothing. As long as he can find Old Wang to forge weapons smoothly, it will be fine. When Lin Fan and others were driving in this area, someone happened to be looking around with a telescope outside the tallest villa in the villa area. The next moment, the other party happened to see the two cars driven by Lin Fan and Su Guanyu with a telescope. "Look over there, what's going on with that car?" Wu Huiking said, and pointed to the location where Lin Fan and others were. Next to Wu Huiking, there was another man standing. After hearing Wu Huiking's voice, he also looked over with a telescope. "It's a modified car, and it's modified perfectly. Such a car doesn't have to be afraid of ordinary zombies at all." Nai Yuanjia stared at it for a while and quickly came to a conclusion. "It seems that the person in the car is not simple." "Who is he?" Wu Huiking frowned slightly. "Although I don't know who is in that car, you should know the Mercedes-Benz G in front, right?" Nai Yuanjia said. Wu Huiking took another look and said, "It seems to be the Mercedes-Benz G-Class that Su Guanyu and his friends drove." "Yes, that's it," Na Yuanjia nodded and said, if you want to know who is in the modified car, just ask Su Guanyu and his friends and you will know. Let's go to report to Sister Qi first. Wait for Sister Qi to make the decision, Wu Huoqing said. Of course, we have to report to Sister Qi first, Na Yuanjia nodded again. Then put away the telescope and said, let's go, don't delay, tell Sister Qi now. After the voice fell, the two turned and walked towards the largest villa in the back. Chapter 120 Hujiaki. At this time, two figures were talking in the lobby on the first floor of the villa. One of them, sitting on a small sofa on the side, was a man in a white suit, with a tan skin and a crew cut. Although he didn't look very handsome, he gave people a sense of security. His name was Cheng Libei, and there was a clear contrast between his name and skin color. The other person was sitting on the sofa, wearing a black sportswear, with long hair draped over his shoulders, and his skin was not white. But it was this not-so-white skin that made her look more special. Of course, her figure was quite good, and no man would think she was an ugly woman. She was the leader of this area Hujiaki. Jiaki, I think we have given Mr. Wang too much patience. Since he wants to survive here in Qingshu County, he should help us do things and let him forge weapons for us every day, so that our strength will grow faster. Cheng Libei looked at Hujiaki and said in a calm voice. It was already well known that he liked Hujiaki, but Hujiaki didn't like him, but just regarded him as a friend. During this period, Mr. Wang has helped many people. If we force Mr. Wang, there may be some trouble. Hujiaki's beautiful eyes flickered. It's troublesome, but Mr. Wang must be used by us. In this way, people who come to him to forge weapons in the future will pass through us, and we can offer more rewards as a condition for forging weapons, Cheng Libei said. Hujiaki looked at a mural in front of him and thought for a while, then nodded and said, arrange someone to find Mr. Wang again and give him the last 3 days to consider. After 3 days, if he still doesn't agree to join our team, then we can only take coercive measures against him. Okay, Cheng Libei was very satisfied that Hujiaki listened to his advice. When he was about to get up and go out to arrange the staff, Wu Huoqing and Na Yuanjia walked in from outside. Sister Qi, Brother Cheng, Wu Huoqing and Na Yuanjia came to the sofa and greeted Hujiaki and Cheng Libei. Then, Wu Huoqing said, we have something to report. What is it? Hujiaki looked up at Wu Huoqing. Just now when we were observing outside, we suddenly saw Su Guanyu driving a car, and that car was a modified car, which was modified very perfectly. I don't know who was in the car, Wu Huoqing reported. A very perfect modified car. Cheng Libei's expression was slightly moved, and he asked, how perfect is it? It can be said that it is not afraid of any ordinary zombies. Wu Huoqing answered affirmatively. Yes, Brother Cheng, that car is indeed so powerful, Na Yuanjia followed. Are you sure that it is Su Guanyu and others who are taking them? Hujiaki asked. Yes, I remember Su Guanyu's Mercedes-Benz G very clearly, and I will definitely not make a mistake, Na Yuanjia said in a firm tone. Cheng Libei shifted his gaze to Hujiaki and said, Jiaki, Su Guanyu and the others are very close to Old Wen. This time, they brought people to Qingshu County, perhaps to find Old Wen to forge weapons. If the modified car is really that perfect, it means that the people in the car must be extraordinary. I think we really have to take action, otherwise we may encounter greater troubles in the future. Cheng Libei was worried that Su Guanyu and others would contact outside forces, and then the outside forces would take Old Wang away, and they would lose a person who could forge powerful weapons. This would definitely be a huge loss for them. Hujiaki was such a smart woman, so she naturally understood what Cheng Libei meant by the greater trouble. Old Wang must not be taken away by other forces. Adam and firelight flashed in Hujiaki's eyes, and she said, however, what I said before will still be implemented first. Give Old Wang the last 3 days to consider and see if he will agree voluntarily. In addition, during these 3 days, we must arrange people to pay close attention to the villa to prevent them from leaving secretly. Cheng Libei nodded. 3 days was not too long. So, he looked at Wu Huoqing and Na Yuanjia and said, take some people to the villa to find Mr. Wang and tell him that we will give him 3 days to consider whether he wants to join us. Then, the people Su Guanyu and his team will definitely go to find Mr. Wang. After you go, you can find out where those people came from. After Cheng Libei finished speaking, Hujiaki added, when you come back to report, just 2 of you can come back. The rest of the people, let them hide in the dark and keep an eye on the movements in the villa at all times. If someone comes out of the villa, Especially Mr. Wang leaving the villa. Have someone hold him back and report back immediately. Okay, Sister Qi, Brother Chang, we will arrange it now. Wu Huiqing and Na Yuanjia looked at each other, answered in unison, and without further delay, they turned around and walked out of the villa. Huiqing and Yuanjia are still very reliable. With them two to arrange, Jiaqi, you don't have to worry about anything, Cheng Libei said. I'm not worried that they can't arrange it well. I just have a hunch in my heart. Hu Jiaqi frowned slightly. What's your premonition? Cheng Libei asked. Qingshu County may not be very peaceful in the next period of time. Hu Jiaqi stared. Just because of that car? Cheng Libei was stunned. I don't know, but I have such a premonition. I can't tell you why. Hu Jiaqi shook his head. Don't think too much. With their current strength, ordinary forces are not your opponents, Cheng Libei said. Well, I'm going upstairs to rest for a while. I'll talk to you later if there is any situation. Hu Jiaqi stood up and walked towards the second floor of the villa without looking at Cheng Libei again. Cheng Libei was also used to Hu Jiaqi's attitude. After Hu Jiaqi went upstairs, he also did not stay in the villa. Wu Huiqing and Na Yuanjia quickly gathered 10 people, plus the two of them, that's 12. Let's go. Wu Huiqing waved his hand, and he and Na Yuanjia took the lead in running in front, and the 10 people behind them quickly followed them. Although there are only 12 of them, they are all evolvers, and their strength should not be underestimated. Su Guanyu and Lin Fan didn't know that they had been targeted by Hu Jiaqi's forces. After they came out of the controlled area, they rushed straight to the villa where Old Wang was. 10 minutes later, the gate of the villa appeared in their sight. It can be seen that there are no signs of zombie activities around the villa. Of course, there are also 2 people standing guard at the gate of the villa. Lin Fan used the ring to read the data information of the 2 people and found that they were both first-level evolvers, with various data of 4. This scene reminded him of the person who was guarding Su Qinkang at the beginning, who was still a first-level evolver. Chapter 121, There is a Supernatural Power. Su Guanyu obviously knew the guard, and he leaned out of the car window to greet him. However, the other party noticed the RV behind. What is this? One person frowned and asked. It's a friend we met outside. After they knew that Mr. Wang could forge weapons, they also wanted to find Mr. Wang to forge weapons, Su Guanyu said. The man squinted his eyes and looked at the RV carefully. He was also surprised by the RV in his heart. He didn't expect that the car could be transformed into this appearance. Of course, since the RV was well covered, he couldn't see the situation inside the RV clearly from the outside. How many people are there in there? Only 3. Do they know the rules of forging weapons by Mr. Wang? Yes, I told them. They have brought double the materials and put them all in the trunk of our car. I can open the trunk and show you. That's not necessary. Mr. Wang still trusts you. The man shook his head, and then walked to the side with his partner to make way. Okay, you guys go in. Thank you very much. Su Guanyu thanked him and gestured to Lin Fan to keep going. Then he released a brake and drove into the villa. Shuang Villa is also not small, with an area of more than 10,000 square meters. It is said that the owner who built this villa spent 1 billion to complete it. A 1 billion project is definitely a big investment in the county. After the 2 cars entered the villa, Su Guanyu quickly took Lin Fan to the parking space and parked the car. After getting off the car, Muran Shan took a look at the surrounding environment and said with a smile, the air here is quite good, unlike those places outside where there is the stench of zombies everywhere. Well, this is indeed well maintained. Lin Fan nodded. In the environment of the Doomsday, it is indeed not easy to breathe fresh air. Come this way. The place where Old Wang forges weapons is at the innermost of Shuang Villa, Su Guanyu said to Lin Fan and the other 2. Have you been here for a long time? Lin Fan asked as he walked. I guess so, Su Guanyu nodded, because we knew Old Wang before the Doomsday broke out, and Old Wang also trusted us. Sometimes we would stay here to help do some things, such as cleaning up the zombies around the villa at any time. No wonder there are no zombies around here. It turns out that you have contributed, Muran Shan interjected. The main reason is that we also want to get more familiar with Old Wang, so that we can have a personal relationship with him when we ask him to forge weapons in the future, right? Su Guanyu smiled. Lin Fan nodded, then thought of another question, and changed the subject, asking, did the force you mentioned earlier force Old Wang to forge weapons for them? From the information you described, the overall strength of that force should be much stronger than this one. Hearing Lin Fan's question, Su Guanayu's face became a little more solemn, and said, "They are indeed very strong, and there are people who want Old Wang to join them, but their leader seems unwilling to force Old Wang and wants to wait for Old Wang to join voluntarily." "Oh," Lin Fan's eyes flashed slightly, and said, "So, the leader of that force is quite courageous. I don't know what the other party thinks specifically. Anyway, Old Wang has not been oppressed too much at present, and they come to Old Wang to forge weapons, and they will also bring double the materials," Su Guanayu said slowly. He really didn't know much about this matter, and he had told Lin Fan everything he knew. Perhaps it was because Lin Fan had made such a deep impression on him before that he didn't dare to hide anything from Lin Fan now. He answered all the questions that Lin Fan wanted to ask. As they were talking, they came to the innermost part of the villa. Since this place has become the place where Old Man Wang forges weapons, as soon as they get closer, they can hear some iron making sounds. It turns out that there is more than one person forging. Murong Shan looked at the busy figures in front of her and whispered, "How can one person be so busy?" Su Guanayu shook his head and smiled. "Without help, it would take a long time for Old Man Wang to forge a weapon alone. Are these forged weapons placed here for people to take, or are they just for display?" Murongzu noticed that there were many weapons such as swords, guns, sticks, etc. placed around this forging area. Some are for display, and some are for others who left after giving the materials and didn't wait here, so they let Old Man Wang forge them first, and they can come to take them when they are free, Su Guanayu explained. "I understand," Murongzu nodded. "Wait for me here, I'll call Old Man Wang out." After Su Guanayu said that, he walked into the forging area. From their sight, they couldn't see where Old Man Wang was. About 3 minutes later, an old man walked out slowly with Su Guanayu. This old man was a little different from the blacksmith Lin Fan imagined. Not only was his clothes not dirty, but he was wearing a clean tang suit, as if he had just changed into new clothes. But Lin Fan knew that it was impossible to change clothes in this environment. "Lin Fan, this is Old Man Wang." When Su Guanayu and the others came to Lin Fan and others, he immediately introduced them to Lin Fan. "Hello, Old Man Wang." Lin Fan stretched out his hand. "Hello." Old Man Wang stretched out his hand and shook hands with Lin Fan. At the moment of shaking hands, Lin Fan noticed that Old Man Wang had very thick calluses on his hands. This kind of calluses are definitely not something that can be obtained by grinding casually. It is enough to show that Old Man Wang does have many years of rich experience in forging weapons. Of course, after covering his hand, Lin Fan also felt a good power from Old Man Wang's hand, and he subconsciously used the ring to read the data information. Species, human level, level 1 strength, 6 speed, 7 reaction, 7 superpower, elementary forging technology, can be promoted. There is a superpower. After Lin Fan read the data of Old Wang, he couldn't help but be surprised. You know, apart from seeing superpowers in his previous life, this is the first time he has seen a superpower after his rebirth. Moreover, Old Wang's superpower is forging technology. No wonder the weapons he forged are so extraordinary. If Lin Fan had considered before whether to find a way to let Old Wang join his team, then at this moment, he can be 100% sure that no matter what reason or method he uses, he must let Old Wang become a member of his team. Having a superpower like Old Wang constantly forging weapons is simply like adding wings to a tiger and icing on the cake. What's more, superpowers can also be upgraded. As the level increases, superpowers will become more and more powerful. In other words, the weapons forged by Old Wang in the future will become more and more powerful. Chapter 122 3 Days to Consider. Old Wang didn't know that Lin Fan had observed his data thoroughly. After shaking hands, he said, "I believe you already know the rules of forging weapons here. I wonder what type of weapons you want to forge. You two go first." Lin Fan looked back at Murongzu and Murong Shan standing behind him. "Long sword," Murongzu said. She had already thought about it on the way here. In ancient costume fairy dramas, women usually used long swords. "I want a long sword too," Murong Shan also said. Long swords are indeed suitable for girls. Old Wang smiled and nodded. "I want a halberd," Lin Fan smiled lightly. "Halberd," Old Wang's eyes condensed and said, "Is it the type of Fangbian Huoji?" "Yes, that kind," Lin Fan nodded. "Okay, then I will forge a long halberd for you." Old Wang's expression moved slightly, and his impression of Lin Fan became more and more profound. When Su Guanayu went in to find him just now, he told him that Lin Fan was very strong. Although he had never fought with Lin Fan, Lin Fan gave him a kind of superior momentum. How could someone who could make him feel this kind of reality be easy to deal with? Then I'll have to trouble Mr. Wang, Lin Fan thanked him. You're welcome. After all, I have to collect my reward. Mr. Wang smiled faintly. Are you waiting here for the weapons to be forged and taken away, or will you come back to get them later? How long will it take to forge them? Lin Fan asked. Within 3 days, Mr. Wang replied. Then we'll wait here, Lin Fan said. Mr. Wang nodded, looked at Su Guanyu, and said, Xiao Su, you take Lin Fan and the others to live in the empty room, and put the forging materials here. When the time comes, your weapons will be forged as well. Okay, Mr. Wang, I'll take them there right away, Su Guanyu responded. However, at this time, a group of people walked straight over. Everyone looked over, and after seeing the appearance of the people coming, Su Guanyu whispered, they are all from Hujiaki's side. Hujiaki is the leader of the force I mentioned. Hujiaki. Lin Fan read the name. Is she a woman? Yes, she is a woman, Su Guanyu whispered. This group of people are naturally Wu Huiking and Na Yuanjia who came from the villa area. Lin Fan's eyes fell on them and immediately read the data information with a ring. All are evolvers. After seeing the data of Wu Huiking, Na Yuanjia and others, Lin Fan was shocked again. He didn't expect that each of these more than 10 people was an evolver. This lineup is really powerful. Moreover, Wu Huiking and Na Yuanjia, who took the lead, have reached 7 in all data. The remaining 10 people have data ranging from 4 to 7. Old Wang, Wu Huiking and Na Yuanjia led people to come forward and greeted Old Wang with a smile. At the same time, after they swept their eyes over Su Guanyu and others, they fell on Lin Fan and the other two. It was not necessary to guess that Lin Fan and the other two were the ones brought here by Su Guanyu. This was a little surprising to them. They did not expect that Lin Fan and the other two looked so young. What can you do for me? Old Wang nodded and responded, with a hint of doubt in his eyes. He naturally knew Wu Huiking and Na Yuanjia, both of whom were capable men under Hujiaki. However, Wu Huiking and Na Yuanjia came here to forge weapons before. But this time, they did not bring any materials with them, and seemed to have other purposes. Hearing Old Wang's question, Wu Huiking withdrew his gaze from Lin Fan and the other two, looked at Old Wang again, and said, Old Wang, let's not beat around the bush, let's get straight to the point. After a slight pause, Wu Huiking said in a calm tone, Sister Qi invites you to join our team. I wonder what you think. As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere around them became quiet. Su Guanyu's face could not help but change. Just now he was telling Lin Fan that Hujiaki had never made such a request to Old Wang, but he did not expect to be slapped in the face now. Although Wu Huiking's tone was very casual, Lin Fan felt that the meaning permeated in those words was a kind of domineering meaning. Old Wang frowned slightly, looked at Wu Huiking, and said, I am used to staying in this place. I have no intention of joining any faction for the time being. Thank you Miss Hu for your kindness, Old Wang, our sister Qi invited you sincerely, Wu Huiking emphasized. I understand, but I am really used to staying here. I am really sorry. Please tell Miss Hu that I will forge a weapon suitable for her when I am free. Old Wang still refused. Old Wang, you don't have to refuse now. Sister Qi said that she will give you 3 days to think about it carefully. We will come back to ask for your reply after 3 days, Wu Huiking said. Then, Na Yuanjia looked at Su Guanyu and smiled faintly. We have something to talk to you. Come over here. After the voice fell, Wu Huiking and Na Yuanjia walked over to the side with their people. Lin Fan, wait for me for a moment. I'll go over and take a look, Su Guanyu said to Lin Fan, and hurriedly walked towards Wu Huiking and Na Yuanjia. With his current strength, he dared not offend Wu Huiking, Na Yuanjia and others. When Su Guanyu came over, Na Yuanjia did not beat around the bush and asked directly, those 3 people followed you here, right? Yes, Su Guanyu nodded, and naturally understood that the 3 people Na Yuanjia was talking about were Lin Fan and his 3 companions. Who are they? Na Yuanjia asked again. I really don't know about this, Su Guanyu said helplessly. We met them when we went out to look for forging materials. After learning that weapons could be forged here by Old Wang, they followed along to find Old Wang to forge weapons. Su Guanyu really didn't know where Lin Fan and his 3 companions came from, nor did he know what forces were behind them. He didn't need to make up a lie to answer this question. Na Yuanjia kept staring at Su Guanyu's eyes. After making sure that Su Guanai was not lying, he changed the subject and asked, "How strong are the three of them? I don't know the strength of the two girls. I didn't see them take action, but Lin Fan's strength is very good, not worse than mine," Su Guanai replied. He didn't say that Lin Fan easily defeated them, as that would be too embarrassing. He just said that Lin Fan's strength was not worse than his. "Very good, let's go back," Na Yuanjia said lightly. Su Guanai nodded, turned around and walked back to Lin Fan and others. Na Yuanjia glanced at Mr. Wang and said, "Mr. Wang, you have 3 days to think about it. I believe you will make the right choice. We will leave first and wait for your reply in 3 days. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels." Chapter 123, Be Soft But Not Hard. After that, Na Yuanjia didn't care what Mr. Wang would say. He waved his hand and led everyone away with woo-hooking. After they walked out of the villa and were out of the sight of the gatekeeper, Na Yuanjia ordered the 10 people, "The 10 of you stay here now and keep an eye on every corner of the villa. Su Guanai and the other 4, the 3 people and Mr. Wang, any movement they make must be reported in time. In addition, if Mr. Wang goes out, you must hold him back and not let him leave the villa." "Do you understand?" "Understood," the 10 evolvers answered in unison. "It's good to understand. This is Sister Key's order. Whoever fails to do it well and makes a mistake will bear the consequences," Na Yuanjia said in a deep voice. "Yes," the 10 people answered again. Let's go back and report first." Na Yuanjia glanced at Wu Huoking. The two did not waste any more time and quickly ran back to the villa area. They soon found Hu Jiaqi and told him what they had learned. In the villa, Old Wang didn't seem to be too affected by Wu Huoking and Na Yuanjia. He still let Su Guanai take Lin Fan and the other 2 to their room. He turned around and walked back to the work area to start forging weapons. Su Guanai and Lin Fan were walking on the road. Lin Fan casually said, "From your point of view, if Old Wang still doesn't agree to join Hu Jiaqi's team in 3 days, will the other party forcibly take Old Wang away?" Su Guanai thought for a while and said, "Hu Jiaqi's power is too strong." She never said before that she wanted Old Wang to consider joining, but this time she said it clearly. "I guess if Old Wang doesn't agree in 3 days, Hu Jiaqi may really take Old Wang away by force. Then do you think Old Wang will agree in 3 days? Lin Fan asked again. "No," Su Guanai shook his head and said, "I have known Mr. Wang for almost 10 years, and I know his character quite well. In fact, he is a rather stubborn person. It is difficult for him to change his opinion unless he is willing to make such a change. In other words, he is a soft-hearted person. The tougher the attitude, the less he will accept it. Instead, he will resist and hate it from the bottom of his heart." At this point, Su Guanai couldn't help but sighed. This is actually quite troublesome. Mr. Wang does not agree to join Hu Jiaqi's team. Hu Jiaqi feels embarrassed and will definitely take measures. Su Guanai's words gave Lin Fan a lot of information. At least, from here, we can understand what Mr. Wang's character is like. If he helps Mr. Wang resolve the pressure on Hu Jiaqi in this situation, then there is no doubt that Mr. Wang will owe him a big favor. He wants Mr. Wang to follow him willingly and integrate into his team willingly. Therefore, he has to intervene in this matter. "Do you know how to get a clear understanding of Hu Jiaqi's power?" Lin Fan asked with a deep look in his eyes. "It's difficult, too difficult," Su Guanai said solemnly. "If you are not one of them, generally speaking, you don't even have the qualifications to enter the villa area, unless you are invited by them. Also, their strength has been growing, mainly because they have been attracting people from outside to join. The most specific situation is probably only known by people like Hu Jiaqi, Cheng Libei, Wu Huoking and Na Yuanjia." "Who is Cheng Libei?" Lin Fan said. "Cheng Libei should be considered the second strongest person in Hu Jiaqi's power, that is. Apart from Hu Jiaqi, he is the strongest," Su Guanai replied. "Okay, I know," Lin Fan nodded. It can be seen that this information is already the limit of Su Guanai's knowledge, and Su Guanai cannot know more information. If you want to know more details, you may have to go to the villa area in person. Soon, Su Guanai brought Lin Fan and the other 2 to a dormitory building in the villa. These rooms have been cleaned. Those with closed doors mean that someone lives there. Those without closed doors mean that no one lives there. You can live in any room you want, Su Guanyu introduced. Okay, thank you very much, you're welcome. I'll leave first. If you have any questions, you can find me in the building opposite. The four of us lie there. After Su Guanyu finished speaking, he left. Lin Fan took a look at the building in front of him. There were 3 floors in total, with 10 rooms on each floor. There were 10 rooms with closed doors. According to Su Guanyu, there were already 10 people living in this building. They were probably waiting for Old Wang to forge weapons like them. Let's live in the 3 rooms on the far right of the first floor, Lin Fan said. Okay, Murenzhu and Murenshan had no objection. The 3 of them walked to the far right together and chose 1 room each. When it was time for dinner, Su Guanyu came here again to call Lin Fan and others. It was also at this time that Lin Fan saw the people living in the other 10 rooms. They were all evolvers. However, these evolvers are all at level 1, and no one has reached level 2. During the meal, there was not much communication between them, but a few evolvers looked at Murenzhu and Murenshan from time to time. But these people knew that it was not easy to come here to find Old Wang to forge weapons, not to mention that Lin Fan and his 2 companions had the advantage in numbers, so they naturally would not rashly come up and chat with him. After finishing the meal, Lin Fan and his 2 companions did not stay and walked back to the room. While walking on the road, Lin Fan glanced around, and when he was sure that no one was around, he said, I'm going out for a while, brother Lin Fan, where are you going? Murenshan asked subconsciously. Do you want to go to the villa area? Murenzhu followed closely. Yes, Lin Fan nodded, without hiding anything, and said, I must let Old Wang stay in our team. With him, our team's overall strength will increase faster. According to what we learned before, that force is likely to take Old Wang away by force. I have to know the strength of the other party first. Only by knowing this information can we better gain a greater chance of winning in the next unknown war. No matter what, he would not let Old Wang be hurt, and he would also win Old Wang's heart through this matter, so that Old Wang would owe him a big favor. Are you going alone? Murenzhu frowned slightly. Well, if you go alone, you will be less conspicuous and not easy to be discovered. If we go together, it will be easier for them to discover us, and they will not use me to understand the situation, Lin Fan pondered. Chapter 124 Don't believe his lies. It's not that Lin Fan didn't want to bring Murenzhu and Murenshan with him, but the enemy's strength in the place they were going to this time was indeed very strong. In case of danger, he could still use his speed to retreat urgently. If he brought Murenzhu and Murenshan with him, he might not be able to retreat in time when he encountered danger. Will it be too dangerous for you to go alone? Murenzhu said worriedly. No, don't worry, I don't want to go too deep. If the situation is not right, I will come back immediately. Lin Fan's eyes condensed slightly, and he said, moreover, Wu Huiking and Na Yuanjia brought people here today, obviously not just to tell Mr. Wang to consider for 3 days. If they just want to tell him this, they don't need to bring so many people, just the 2 of them can notify him. It means that the 10 people they brought here are actually to stay outside to let them watch here, so that no one leaves without permission. Murenzhu frowned and asked. Her IQ is very high, and when Lin Fan said this, she naturally associated it with the key to the problem. Yes, those 10 people are definitely guarding outside. Lin Fan nodded, looked at Murenzhu with appreciation, and said, if the 3 of us go out together, we may not be able to avoid the eyes of those 10 people, let alone get close to the villa area. Murenzhu and Murenshan knew the interests involved, and both gave up the idea of following Lin Fan out. Murenshan asked curiously, brother Lin Fan, when will you act? Wait a little longer, wait until it's completely dark before you act. Lin Fan smiled faintly. At this time, the sky was not completely dark yet, and it was estimated that the 10 people were in good spirits, so there was no need to rush. Soon, the 3 of them walked back to the dormitory building. Just as they were about to go into their rooms, a shout came from behind. 3, wait a minute. Hearing this shout, Lin Fan and the other 2 turned around. A man in denim clothes came over. Lin Fan had some impression of this man before. He had seen him at dinner. Moreover, his jeans were ripped jeans, which gave him a non-mainstream feeling. What's the matter? Lin Fan asked calmly. He naturally didn't need to be nice to such a person with an unknown purpose. My name is Lu Xianzong. I don't have any other intentions. I just want to get to know you. The man walked up with a smile and introduced himself. When he said this, his eyes were always on Lin Fan, and he didn't linger on Murenzhu and Murenshan. It was the same when they were having dinner. The other men looked at Murenzhu and Murenshan with lustful eyes, but this guy didn't reveal any extra thoughts in his eyes. Lin Fan responded. As the saying goes, you don't hit a smiling person. In addition, Lu Xianzong behaved differently from other men, so Lin Fan thought it was okay to get to know him. Murenzhu, Murenshan, Murenzhu and Murenshan also said their names. You are here to forge weapons too, right? Lu Xianzong asked with a smile. Yes, Lin Fan looked at Lu Xianzong. Are you here alone? Yes, I'm alone, Lu Xianzong replied. Then how did you know that Mr. Wang would forge weapons? Lin Fan asked. I met Su Guanai and the others outside, and I found out after getting to know them, Lu Xianzong smiled. Then, he rolled his eyes. Where are you from? Are you organized? Why? Lin Fan did not answer immediately. Don't get me wrong, I just got tired of wandering around alone, and I want to find a team to survive the apocalypse together. Lu Xianzong saw something wrong in Lin Fan's eyes, and hurriedly explained. Oh, Lin Fan frowned slightly. You didn't have a team before? No, I've been alone since the outbreak of the apocalypse, Lu Xianzong replied. Then you haven't met a team that invited you to join? Lin Fan asked again. Yes, I did, but I refused, Lu Xianzong chuckled. I have to choose a team, right? Then why do you want to join our team? Murenshan stepped forward and asked. Feeling, Lu Xianzong smiled again. I just feel that your team will be very good. I don't believe you, you old men are very bad. Murenshan rolled her eyes at Lu Xianzong in anger. Lu Xianzong is a man, not a woman, and he is still talking about feelings here. Why not say it is a woman's sixth sense? Murenzhu did not believe Lu Xianzong's reason, but at this time, she did not say anything. She believed that Lin Fan would make a correct judgment. Lin Fan looked at Lu Xianzong for more than 10 seconds, and when Lu Xianzong was almost embarrassed, he said, your words are not trustworthy to me. Although Lu Xianzong's data are all 6, he is a good evolver, but the reason Lu Xianzong said is indeed not enough for him to believe. In order to avoid some unnecessary troubles in the future, Lin Fan will still treat it with caution. Then how can I join your team? Lu Xianzong touched his head, and his face seemed to be full of curiosity. Don't worry, we will stay here for a few more days. When I know you better and I am sure you can trust me, then it won't be too late for you to join me, Lin Fan said lightly. Okay. I will make you believe me, Lu Xianzong said confidently. We have things to do now, let's talk when we are free, Lin Fan said. He still had to go out to get information, and he didn't want to waste too much time with Lu Xianzong here. What if this guy was a chatterbox and couldn't stop talking? It would affect his plan. Lu Xianzong was a sensible person. After hearing what Lin Fan said, he knew that he shouldn't continue to disturb him. He said goodbye and turned back to his room. He also lived on the first floor, and the room in the middle was where he lived. Lin Fan retracted his gaze, looked at Murenzhu and Murenshan, and said, this person is quite strong. If his purpose is really to join our team, you can give him a chance. After all, we also need manpower at the moment. It was obviously too late to go back and find Zhang Xianzhen and others now, not to mention that Zhang Xianzhen and others also had the work of moving things to do. In this case, it would be a good choice to get help from someone here. Anyway, I don't believe his lies, Murenshan said playfully. It doesn't matter whether it's a lie or not, as long as I can use him now, Lin Fan said with a faint smile. Chapter 125 Hujiaki's Strength. If Lu Xianzong wants to join their team, then we must see his performance next. Only if he performs well will he have a chance, and if he performs poorly, then naturally he won't have to consider it. Okay, let's go back to the room first. I won't say hello to you when I go out later, Lin Fan reminded. The three of them returned to their rooms, and Lin Fan leaned on the bed to rest. 2 hours later, Lin Fan opened his eyes, turned over and got up, walked to the door, opened a crack in the door, and took a look outside. When he was sure that there was no one else, he walked out of the room. The outbreak of the doomsday caused the complete interruption of network communications. People no longer stayed up late to watch TV series and surf the internet like before, and basically went to bed early. At this point, the villa was already quiet. Lin Fan closed the door gently, quickly walked to the side of the accommodation building, and walked towards the edge of the villa. The gate of the villa was guarded, and he definitely couldn't go out through the gate. Lin Fan quickly came to the wall, which was about 2 meters high. He accelerated his body and rushed forward, stepped on the wall with his feet, and easily jumped onto the wall. Lin Fan still carefully looked at the situation outside, and did not see the people brought by Wu Huiqing and Na Yuanjia outside. In fact, Lin Fan's guess was not wrong. At this point, the people arranged by Wu Huiqing and Na Yuanjia were all sleepy, and they did not think that anyone would go out of the villa so late. Therefore, they are now in groups of 5, gathering in 2 cars to sleep and rest. And the direction from which Lin Fan came out was not the true directions from which they parked. Lin Fan jumped off the wall and ran quickly. Although they drove here before, he had a strong sense of direction and knew that the villa area was in the southeast of the villa. After the speed data reached 7, his full speed running speed was no worse than that of the world champion, and he left the area around the villa in a short while. The zombies encountered along the way were either solved by him or avoided by speed. Half an hour later, he came to the area of Hujiaki's influence. The villa area is located in the center, and inside of this area, especially the most luxurious villa, which is located at the innermost end. According to what Su Guanyu said, Hujiaki was sitting in that villa. The main thing he wanted to know this time was naturally Hujiaki's strength. In other words, he had to get close to the villa first. It doesn't seem so convenient to go in from the front, so let's go around the mountain behind. Lin Fan looked up at the villa area in front of him, stood there and pondered for a moment, and quickly made a decision. Although it was night, there were many people in the other party's forces. If he went from the front, even if he was careful, the chance of being discovered was very high. Instead of doing this, it would be more reliable to go around the mountain behind. This villa area has something in common with the villa area where Miranzu's family used to live, that is, they are all built on the mountain, and the best villa is built halfway up the mountain. Lin Fan only needs to go around from the back of the mountain to reach the villa. With this decision, Lin Fan did not delay anymore and ran towards the foot of the mountain. The zombies here are cleared every day. There are no zombies in this area. Lin Fan's speed bursts out faster. In less than 20 minutes, he arrived at the foot of the mountain. Roar! There were zombies in this direction. After hearing the noise, they opened their mouths and roared, approaching Lin Fan. Lin Fan swung the axe in his hand and chopped 5 times in a row. 5 zombies fell to the ground and died. Then, he began to walk to the middle of the mountain. On the way, he encountered some animal zombies, but he easily solved them. When he came to the middle of the mountain, Lin Fan went around to the front of the mountain and looked down. The best villa was no more than a few hundred meters away from him. After a short rest, Lin Fan began to approach the villa. This area is Hujiaki's sphere of influence. They believe that this is the safest place, so no one is arranged to guard it. Lin Fan came to the outside of the villa and looked at a room on the 2nd floor of the villa. Because, in such a large villa, only that room can emit light. Lin Fan frowned slightly. If he wanted to go in and check, it would be too difficult, so he had to use other methods. After thinking about it, he picked up a stone from the ground and walked under a big tree next to him. Whoosh! Holding the stone in his hand, Lin Fan's eyes focused, and he threw it towards the wall of the villa. When the stone passed through the air, a subtle sound of breaking through the air could be heard. Bang! The stone hit the wall and immediately there was a crash. As expected by Lin Fan, although the crash was not loud, it still reached the 2nd floor. The glass of the 2nd floor window opened, and a woman appeared at the window. She looked down at the wall below, and she could tell that the sound came from below. This woman was undoubtedly Hujiaki. Taking this opportunity, Lin Fan immediately used the ring to read Hujiaki's data. Species, human level, level 2 strength, 9 speed, 9 reaction, 8 ability, none. It has reached 9. Lin Fan's eyes showed a solemn look. He didn't expect that Hujiaki's strength and speed had reached 9. No wonder Hujiaki was able to take charge of this place and make these people listen to her willingly. With such strong strength, she is indeed qualified. After checking Hujiaki's data, Lin Fan immediately hid behind a tree. At the same time, Hujiaki's eyes began to scan the surroundings. When she scanned the row of trees, she paid special attention, but did not find anything different. After 2 or 3 minutes, Hujiaki stopped observing the outside and closed the window. Lin Fan did not act immediately and continued to hide behind a tree. A minute later, Hujiaki opened the window again and scanned, but still did not see anything unusual. Then she really closed the window and did her own thing in the room. Lin Fan raised the corner of his mouth slightly, and thought to himself, this woman's mind is quite delicate. If he did not hide behind a tree and prepare to leave when Hujayaki closed the window for the first time, then within a minute, he would not be able to disappear from Hujayaki's sight, and he would definitely be discovered by Hujayaki. Although he could escape with the advantage of distance, it would eventually arouse the vigilance of Hujayaki and others. Lin Fan exhaled lightly, looked at the room where Hujayaki was again, and then turned around and left here, and began to return along the original path. The main purpose of his coming here was to understand Hujayaki's specific strength. As long as he knew Hujayaki's strength, he could have some estimate of the overall strength of this force. As for checking Chang Libei and others, the risk was relatively large and there was no need to take the risk. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.